good, everybody? We're going to be going live in a minute. We got Jenny and some of y'all new nerds joining us. We're going to talk about some ScarJo versus Disney, since that's the hot topic right now. And some What If, and also some Bad Batch. Hang in there. We'll be right back.
Maybe.
All right.
But I have very coherent thoughts that I can share.
Yes.
Insiders' perspectives.
What is up, everybody? We're going to wait a couple minutes. It looks like my internet connection is already bottoming out. Haven't even started the stream yet. Just our luck. But we will wait a minute or two. Let us know you can hear us.
Hey, guys.
Welcome
What's
back.
up,
Hey,
friends?
guys. We got Levi with us today. Hopefully Johnny's going to join us in a few minutes, and Jenny. And although it wasn't necessarily something that I was aiming to talk about, Jenny and I got in a conversation yesterday about the whole ScarJo versus Disney situation. So I know Jenny has, like, you guys probably won't be surprised to hear Jenny's got probably a raging piece to...
I wouldn't say
on us.
raging. I actually feel very optimistic about it. I have extremely coherent thoughts from sort of an inside industry perspective. And I'm actually like, the more I've thought about it, the more I'm like, no, this is really good. It's good this is happening. If anybody's unaware, the crux of what is going on is that Scarlett Johansson's contract with Marvel for the film Black Widow relies heavily on back end. In other words, ticket sales from the box office. So she gets a percentage of box office sales. At the time they made the film, they didn't know there was going to be a pandemic. Streaming evolved so fast regardless of the pandemic. So no percentage of these streaming sales is included in her contract. She's not getting a back end on the incredibly highly priced $30 tickets that were sold for the streaming on Disney Plus. So her team is suing Disney effectively for breach of contract. My very concise thought on this, I'm going to go into some detail, but my very concise thought on this is that I am with Scarlett on this. Like, I support Scarlett in this, and I actually think it's a very big deal for the industry. I think, as per usual, her team lives in a bubble and is framing the issue terribly. Their framing of it is awful, but at base, I agree with their argument. Scarlett has been in trouble before. Many people might remember she played an Asian character in Ghost in the Shell. There was a whole scandal after the fact about them like digitally altering her to try to make her look Asian. It was messy. She was scheduled to play a trans character in another movie, a biopic, and every single time one of these things happens and she is rightfully called out for it,
like, no,
her team responds and says, like, Scarlett's an actor and she can do whatever she wants. She can be anybody. And it's just extremely, I don't know what phrase I want to use. I don't want to use the phrase tone deaf. I don't like that phrase because it's a little ableist, but it's just, they seem unaware that they live in a society. And she has apologized for the thing with the trans character. She's like, I don't think I realized how oblivious I was being, and but basically her team has a long history of saying awkward stuff in response to a situation. In this case, what they're saying is that Disney used COVID, quote, as a pretext to cheat her out of her back end. I have no doubt that Disney's bottom line at all times, in all things, is like, how much money can we make? But the reality is that COVID isn't a pretext. COVID is real. And whatever Disney's motivations may have been, releasing the film on streaming was the right decision. You could not pay me to go into a movie theater right now. If it weren't available streaming, I would still not have seen this movie. And I am very sure that the same is true for millions of Americans. And that's also the world we live in now. Even if and when the pandemic finally begins to subside, people have become accustomed to these options. We have been working via Zoom all year. We've been doing things online. Like, people are going to expect to have these digital options moving forward. You can't just sort of give it and then take it away. So I think this is sort of the world that we're looking at. Warner Brothers just this week sold an entire slate of films, like a whole portfolio of films, to HBO's streaming service. And they're planning to do the exact same thing that Disney did with Black Widow. And that's coming to bite some of their actors in the ass as well, because once again, when the actors' contracts were signed.
That's what happened with Justice League too.
Yes, exactly. So this is a thing. It's not just Scarlett Johansson, trying to get more money. This is actually a very big thing for quite a few projects and the creative collaborators who worked on those projects right now. The reason I think this is important in the long term, it's very easy to be like, well, her team said some stupid stuff about COVID and Scarlett Johansson has plenty of money and, so many millions of people in the world have really real problems like eviction and, joblessness right now. And that's all true. But what I was talking to Mike about was that the thing that immediately came to mind for me was the Jennifer Lawrence thing. I don't know if you guys remember this, but about 6-7 years ago, Sony got hacked. It was a huge deal. There was the Sony hack.
The interview. No.
Well, she wrote an essay. Thousands of
I meant the
Sony...
film. The North Korea hacked Sony and the film. Interview.
The interview was like the big, huge.
It was the target.
One of the biggest things. That was the target, was because Sony had made a film with some very ill-advised stuff in it. It was a Seth Rogen, James Franco John. But Sony got hacked as a result, and thousands of like personal private emails from inside the Sony team got leaked. And there were like 5 major scandals that came out of this, like exposés.
Amy Pascal being a big one. She lost her.
That was a huge one. There were like many things that came out of that. But the one I want to talk about is that one of the things that got leaked was that Jennifer Lawrence and Amy Adams apparently were being paid a smaller percentage, a smaller back end on the film American Hustle than their 3 male co-stars, Christian Bale, Bradley Cooper, and Jeremy Renner. Even though, unlike Jeremy Renner or Bradley Cooper, Amy and Jennifer were both already Oscar winners by this point, were more bankable stars, and had a part larger than at least one of those guys. Like, they were absolutely stars of the movie, and they were being paid a smaller percentage. And at the time, Jennifer Lawrence wrote a scathing essay. And I mean, it was extremely well written and well informed. And she basically, and all 3 of those male co-stars, to their credit, stood with Amy and Jennifer and were like, no, they did the same work we did. They shouldn't be paid less. This was very timely because it was sort of happening around the same time as the Me Too and Time's Up movements. The gender pay gap was very much in the news at this time. And Jennifer Lawrence at that moment was the highest paid female actor in Hollywood. And in the course of this, it came out that she was making 5/8 of what the highest paid male actor in Hollywood was making that year. So again, it's not about she already has millions and millions and millions of dollars. It's about somebody who has the same job, who occupies the same space that she does, is making more just for being a man. So she committed in this essay that her team was always going to ask for pay transparency and pay equity in every project she worked on. She was like, I'm not doing any movie unless they tell us what everybody's making, and we'll pay the female cast as, commensurate to the male cast. And this was a very big deal, not just because it was somebody with a high profile saying something virtuous. This had a very tangible trickle-down effect. So like, this essay that she wrote was widely published, and it empowered women in all kinds of industries at all kinds of pay levels to demand pay transparency and pay equity from their employers. And there were like thousands of stories being shared on Twitter by people saying, I signed an NDA, but screw it. You know what? This is for the greater good. I'm going to tell my story about inequity. And this actually has had a real effect. Like, there is more, not great pay equity, but there is still more pay equity in some places than there used to be as a direct result of what she did. So J-Law in this case used her privilege for good. She did something that was for the public good. And I think that the Scarlett Johansson thing, although she is a very wealthy, very privileged person, has the potential to do the same. SAG-AFTRA, our union, has not caught up to streaming. It changes so fast, and we still haven't caught up to like the fact that Netflix exists. So for instance, as an actor, as a screen actor, you rely heavily on residuals. I did one episode of Modern Family like 6 years ago, and I still get a check from them occasionally. Every time they make more money, I make more money for my work, which is the way that like pay equity in Hollywood is supposed to work. As things stand, we're still working with very old contracts and there are no residuals on streaming. Even if you are like the star of House of Cards or like some flagship show, you know, like the biggest show on Netflix, you are not getting residuals. You just get paid once for your work as if you were doing a play. And it's really inequitable because more and more and more things are moving to streaming. It's not kind of like one little, it was at one point like this is one little hiccup that we need to work out, but it's becoming an increasing hiccup because it's becoming harder and harder to do anything that doesn't have a streaming component. So I don't think the issue is that COVID is a pretext. I think the issue is that production companies, producers, movie studios, employers, everybody needs to be paying people for their work. Like they just need to suck it up and pay people for their work. And reps like actors, agents, and managers need to start negotiating for back end to include streaming. I don't think the union's going to change its rules anytime soon. It takes like years for contract negotiations to happen. But if reps are at least negotiating for that, like if you're going to do a back end heavy deal, you need to include streaming revenue in that. That's going to solve a big problem that will definitely trickle down within the entertainment industry to actors like at my level. But also, I think once again, it's an opportunity to re-examine sort of how pay structures work in a world, whether it's in Hollywood or any other industry, in a world that like is increasingly dependent on these technologies. So that was a very long speech, but like long story short, I think that like I'm really with Scarlett on this one. And I'm feeling optimistic about it because she has a high profile and because the story is getting a lot of press. I think it could be a good thing. Yeah.
Wow. So yeah, good job, Jenny. That was like 11 minutes. And Levi and I were quiet the whole time, which is not common for Levi and I. I'm sorry, Levi and me. But yeah, in general, what you're getting at is that this is basically just like a precedent-setting event.
Exactly.
And that like this isn't necessarily all that shocking, and especially since Disney has been kind of behaving like this a lot recently. And
not just recently, they're always like this, but yeah.
I mean, committing fouls is one thing, but something about this seems so flagrant, and I think that's kind of the like, because it is easy to fall onto the like, oh, poor little rich girl, like she, right. You know. People making gazillions of dollars. Meanwhile, like literally everybody in America like lost out on income last year. Like I know I certainly did, like as a musician, like, and pretty much all of my gigs being canceled for the year ahead of time.
And I think that was your mindset when you and I started having this conversation yesterday. You were like, her problems are not that big. But
I don't think anybody disagrees that like on paper and from like a principle standpoint, like everybody's on Scarlett Johansson's side. It's like, yeah, like you make a
if you write a contract, you should honor it and not try to get around it.
And also like, it's not like this is like hidden, like everybody can see what Disney's doing. And if they're not following through on their promises, then it's just like, it seems like I said, it's flagrant. It's a flagrant foul, and it's not. It makes you wonder why Disney thinks that the negative PR, or if they're even aware of the negative PR that they can create for themselves by just pinching pennies when they don't have to, right? Essentially.
Yeah, because as rich as Scarlett is, Disney is richer. Disney can afford to give her a reasonable back end on both streaming and box office.
Because it does not seem like a complicated thing to be able to just come to like, okay, because of COVID, we're moving on to the streaming thing. Like, here's your cut of this streaming thing. Like,
right.
Well, that's the thing. That's sort of the problem, is because they made the contract before, and then because they only filed the lawsuit a few days ago. Like, that's the only reason why we know about it, is because lawsuits are in public record. and you can see Scarlett Johansson during the press tour, she's still fine. And like the reason I think, and the reason it's been reported why this really became a thing is because the movie started to fail, right? Because of it just didn't like in this
fail, but that's because it's like
well,
second weekend
exactly.
at box office
It's
was
COVID.
less because of streaming and
it's
because
COVID.
of COVID.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. So
Yeah.
but her contract only stipulated for box office rather than the streaming numbers. It did, you know, whatever 60 million. It was very impressive numbers on Disney Plus.
Yeah.
But because the movie started to not do well at the box office, that I feel is what motivated her team.
I mean, also
sue.
keep in mind
Makes sense.
this movie as subject matter over the last 2 years has been the consistent sort of like changes in schedule and delays in release and all.
Yeah,
of this.
it's a tough
by no
situation,
means
and
a
allegedly
normal situation. Yeah.
and allegedly Kevin Feige as well was pushing for this to be a full theater release, and he's upset. There's a whole thing. But I think
Scarlett's team is saying the same thing, but this is a bunch of old white dudes saying the same thing that old white dudes in politics and every other industry is saying, which is like, get back to normal. And that's unrealistic. Like, normal is not going to look the same as it did before the pandemic ever again, both because of the pandemic and because the world changes. Like, things change. It's the same thing I was saying about the union. Like, they haven't adapted to reality. Netflix has been around for a really long time before COVID happened. And a lot of folks unfortunately, the entertainment industry overall is still run by like really old, really rich, mostly white people who really are in a bubble, who really aren't in touch. And that covers so many things. But in this case, I think there is still this idea that people are going to joyfully return to movie theaters. And it's like, nah, dude, I can't imagine when I'm ever going to want to do that again, frankly. So this is like, catch up with the world.
There is still definitely a significant number of people that do. I mean, like, it's not like we can say that Black Widow didn't do well as other Marvel movies, but it was never going to, you know, despite the circumstances. And then
that's just COVID.
But even still, it still performs better than most other movies, and it's hard to, you know, I know Star Wars has that same problem too. It's like if there's an expectation of like it's gonna make this much, you know, it's easy to look at a movie like Solo, Levi, and people say, well, that's the first Star Wars movie that lost money. Like,
well, I mean,
total
that's
failure, and it's like, well, there's other circumstances around.
That's a different case, but yeah.
Yeah. But
that movie had to be made like twice. Bizarre.
Lavelle, thanks for the $5 super chat.
Yeah, thanks,
Lavelle, man. Basket, Pastor President Jenny is here. Yeah, we definitely let Jenny have the floor there. I know that it's
yeah, I just have really strong feelings about it because it does affect my industry, and I think it's the reason that I'm ultimately so optimistic about it is exactly what you said. Is it's not because I really care what happens with Scarlett Johansson's paycheck. She's fine, but because the precedent that will be set.
Yeah, I honestly don't think she cares either.
Deal.
I don't think she is.
No, I don't think she does. But she is. But when I said before, Jennifer Lawrence consciously used her privilege for good. Like, she put herself out there. She wrote an essay, and it did tangible good in the world. And whether that's Scarlett's intention or not, I don't really care what her intention is. I think the fact that she has the profile she has and the privilege that she has means that the bigger a deal this becomes, like, the more press it gets.
I mean, already it's starting to cascade.
Yeah, if other actors and actresses.
Well, Emma Stone is reportedly.
Emma Stone has a thing going on as well. And like I said, between like Suicide
Emily
Squad
Blunt and The Rock for Jungle
and
Cruise.
This whole like slate of Warner Brothers movies that were just sold, this is going to be an issue for a lot of other movie stars that we know, but that has a trickle down effect that will affect literally any actor who appears in a streaming property. This has the effect to do good for like a lot of artists.
I think we can all agree
the way we think about things.
That the most important one is that Gerard Butler just sued over Olympus Has Fallen.
So. How old is this movie?
I don't know. Well, no, because Olympus Has Fallen is the.
Oh, this is the new. This is like a sequel.
I think the one that came out during the pandemic. He's suing over it.
Why is he? I wasn't even aware of this. What's he up
exactly?
To?
He's suing for $10 million. Gerard Butler. He wants his money from Olympus Has Fallen.
Yeah. Like I was saying,
but it's undoubtedly because of this. I just wanted to,
because like I said, on paper and in principle, it makes perfect sense. Like the legal precedent, like having to be like, no, this is money you owe me, like that. I'm all on board with that. But I do go back to the whole. It does seem like a totally shitty cop out to try and blame anything on COVID on Disney's part.
Yeah, no, her team
clearly
said some
have infinite
shit.
money and can just go ahead and compensate her. It should not be difficult. It should actually be like super easy, especially considering she's, what is it, 9 movies she's been in. Johnny's here, yay!
There's
So,
Johnny.
More probably.
When Black Widow has
For-
never
for
really
Marvel
been one of the
specifically,
premier, yeah.
he's-
If she's
Oh
never
no, I
really
know. I'm
been
saying even then, I think more.
one of the.
But yeah, I mean,
premier
exactly. The thing is that
characters,
like
it's
her
still
team has
important.
said all kinds of
Hey,
stupid
Johnny.
things, but
How's it
we
going?
have to remember that 2 things can be true: that they can be framing things in a
Peter
terrible
Parker.
way and also be correct.
And I
Thank you.
think that's why they're gonna lose. Well, they're gonna settle, and then Disney's gonna play a lot of hush money.
Levi, your head's gone.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but,
you
know.
keep disappearing into your cool
I know.
background there.
Yeah.
Homer Simpson into the bushes. But the other thing that comes out of this though, Levi, I want to hear how you feel about this. Well, because Johnny's here, but the Bob Chapek situation. If things like
I don't like that guy.
is
I
yeah,
don't,
I don't think
know
a lot
the,
of people
I don't know the
do.
Bob Chapek one. What is going on with that?
Well, just in general, that this is going down under his watch.
Yeah, he's
Oh,
really been he's a real
right.
goof for that guy.
Yeah.
I don't like him
Right.
because apparently, and that's not apparent,
like,
but everyone who
Should
was a
Iger
fan.
have stuck around?
Yes, I wish.
Yeah,
Is
well, yeah. I
is
mean,
every-
we all
everyone-
wish that.
Everyone who was a
It's
fan
hard
of
to
Disney
ignore the
parks.
success. You know,
Oh,
is this-
not
is this-
not that Iger's not around. He's just not.
He's gone.
Up
He
top.
leaves at the end of this year for permanent.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. That's right. I
And
forgot
then,
about that.
but everyone
Does
who
this
was a
kind of
fan.
mirror the whole Kathy Kennedy situation with Star Wars in terms of like you can't argue with like on the surface profitability, but then again, you know, you're doing damage in the background.
Bob
that's-
Chapek's a different deal because Bob, when he joined, when they announced him, everyone who was a fan of the Disney parks was like, "Oh God, Disney is screwed," because people over the past 10 years or whatever, Chapek has been running the parks, and people were not satisfied. People were
Yeah,
like, "He's a
but
real
also,
cheapskate."
aren't the Disney employees treated like worse
Oh,
than Amazon employees?
horribly! It's like
Like they're like living in their cars,
violation
right?
after violation. It's
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's
awful.
and that was his deal, and now
Park
he's
employees live in like a little fascist state. It's terrible. out
and
there.
now
Like-
he's the top dog of all of it. I'm not pleased with the way things might
Yeah,
maybe
I don't-
progressing.
really know. I don't really
I'm
know too
glad
much about Chapek, but
I'm glad that Lucasfilm and Marvel are, you know,
He is a bald rich man,
isolated as subdivisions and not fully integrated into the main Disney thing because they do have some autonomy.
yeah,
But
I
ultimately
agree.
ultimately they have to listen to Disney, but like they are still their own things, and I'm glad because, yeah, what he's doing with like, with the whole
Well, and
streaming
especially
reorganization
those two
thing.
because they're power players in their own right before being with Disney. So
Yeah.
like they do have some clout. I agree with Levi on that.
So I'm happy about that. But in terms of the man and the way he's running things, everything I've heard, I'm not pleased. No, this is just another example because he seems to be like the hard line, kind of even more so than Iger was, because Iger was like the grease the palms kind of Disney CEO, whereas Chapek's the bring down the axe kind of CEO.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
So- All right, so we can wrap up talking about ScarJo at this point because really, it just
Yeah, I
makes
said
perfect
my
sense
piece.
that,
I
like,
had really strong
well,
feelings about it, but
yeah.
like
moving
I'm
feeling
forward,
optimistic.
It's
I'm feeling
obvious
good.
that artists need to make streaming deals ahead of time now.
yeah, people's
Because they're
reps need to be negotiating that into their contracts from the get-go. Now that
Yeah.
we've seen that Disney and Warner and whoever else is gonna try and pull shit like this if they can.
Yeah,
surprised
So
Disney, I'm
this
so
is-
surprised
This is
Disney
an
just said
example
no.
for everybody
yeah,
else.
yeah.
because
I
Warner
don't know
Warner,
if you know this, but the stream is a little choppy.
Yeah,
we
know.
know.
Yeah, we know.
Okay.
Unfortunately, our rural Wi-Fi is biting us in the butt. today.
Warner
Yeah.
Warner
Doing our
Warner had to do the
best.
same thing with all of the contracts.
No,
for
we were gonna
Justice
blame
League.
it on you, Johnny. It's only when you arrived. It was choppy before you got here. for
You know,
sure.
like Warner had to do all of this the same
Apologies.
way with Justice League, and they finished all of those contracts. They were able to compensate all the actors in Justice League to change from releasing from a movie to the streaming show
Oh yeah.
or streaming movie.
WB is that if you want to talk about that company.
Well, I know they suck, but I'm saying
They
even
suck.
with the right this particular issue with compensating the
They're
actors
just
for
bad people.
changing to a streaming thing, even they were able to figure it out. Like that's what I'm saying. Like even that crappy company who famously treats their actors very poorly was able to figure that out.
Most
And
of
like
employees.
Disney, like with like one of their main stars was just like,
Yeah.
no. And I'm like, what? This doesn't make any sense to me.
It's just a stupid move. I think this just goes back to like these people assume that nothing has changed and that their power exists in the same framework in which it has always existed, and it just doesn't. And
The
you know
people
what?
are gonna
They
see our
kind of, like-
movies. You gotta see the movies and the box.
No,
office
that's
thing.
literally
Like,
it though. Like they just think they have always gotten away with this stuff and they've been taught for, the 900 years that they've all been alive, that they can just get away with whatever they want because nobody else has as much power as they do.
They're like the Time Lords.
I guess, yeah.
but
I mean,
they're
that's
real.
the
But
thing.
they're
It's
not
like
real.
they can either like join 2021, they can either join the COVID universe, and not just the COVID
The
universe, but
COVID
the fact
extended
that
universe.
not only that, but that like digital technologies, regardless of COVID, are evolving fast, and this is just a part of our lives now. They can either sort of like get with the program or die already. So
I meant in the sense that they just act like automatons who are just like, yes, this is our singular purpose.
I'm an Omega level mutant. I don't know whether that's a compliment or not, Lavelle, but thank you.
Nexus being, isn't
Not
that the
reading.
term? Or...
I'm not reading
Next to
chat.
me.
Lavelle's out here like speaking Yiddish in the
So,
chat.
let's
It's
talk
okay.
about let's
Just
talk
let
about
him.
What
Just
If.
let him go.
I want to talk about What If a little bit. And I want to know, how much do we know about What If other than what we've seen in the trailer?
What if?
Well,
Do we know any specific
ties in.
storylines? It
Oh.
ties in.
gonna tie in. I don't think it's gonna be like
Yeah, we do know storylines.
major, but this is
We
gonna
know-
kind of be like.
We
What do you mean?
know. Let's see.
Right.
There's Killmonger rescues Iron Man in Iron
Yeah,
Man
we know
1.
all that.
There's Captain Peggy Carter instead of Steve. There's
Zombie Hunter Spider-Man.
There's T'Challa Star-Lord.
There's something with Nebula. Nebula has like.
You can look up a list. Like, they're out there.
Yeah, there's a list. They're out there. I don't really know. Like, I don't think it's gonna have like repercussions in the grand scale of the MCU, but I think it's gonna be a pretty cool animated series. So.
Do you think they'll add any special addition, like tribute to Chadwick Boseman? Especially since there was a lot of people that felt he
'cause
got.
it's
snubbed
I feel
at
like
the,
they'll- I feel like
in
they'll-
memoriam
yeah,
at the Oscars.
It's his last performance, so
I feel like they will make it special.
I
Yes,
think
I
anyway,
do.
because they were.
I hope it's something more than just like the little tag
yeah,
at the
little
end that's
tagline.
like R.I.P. Chadwick Boseman. But
Yeah.
Well, I mean, like, what can they do at this point? You know,
I don't know.
right?
I'm
So
excited
it's
to
like-
see a Nebula story. That's like
On his
one
episode,
of
they
one
can
of the
do the
most
special intro.
underused characters in the
Yeah.
MCU. I feel like
I
that character
disagree. I
always
mean, like, she
deserved more
was
screen
sure,
time.
but then in Endgame, I feel like she got a really good
She,
story.
yeah, the scene between her and Tony Stark with like the flip cup game or whatever they
Yeah,
were playing.
she had a lot of
so
good moments in
good.
Endgame.
I think she
Very
was just
underrated
a
in Endgame.
great, like a very underrated character in the MCU in general. I
Yeah.
thought like she's just,
Yeah.
I love that character.
Well, I mean,
So-
she's still got a future. But
What
Yeah.
are
I hope
what
so.
are episode
Yeah.
lengths for
she'll
What
be in
If?
Guardians 3.
They're like 25. I think Bad
20
Batch.
and what are the
like,
total number of episodes? Do we know that?
For What If?
10.
10.
I'll look.
Wanna say?
I think.
Do we know how long these
episodes?
episodes are? I honestly don't know.
I think
much
they're
about
they're like
this.
25.
I feel like
Yeah,
they'll just be this.
20
Yeah.
to 25.
20, 25, 10
Yeah.
episodes.
Everything we
Ah,
know
that's-
about all 10. Yeah, so 10,
Yeah, I thought it was
10
10,
episodes. Yep.
Okay.
I assume they're gonna be like a half an hour or so. So kind of just the average Disney series. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm excited though.
Yeah.
Should be
it's
cool.
gonna be Ultron is Vision. It's
But
or no,
unlike
Vision
Visions,
is Ultron.
which is like varying in its styles, like What If is going to be pretty consistent. It looks like it had
Yes. No. Yeah. It's not different creators. It's the same team making it. a
yeah,
bunch of
yeah,
different
same
stories.
animators. Yeah, yep, different stories.
that, and it looked like
Yeah,
it,
I don't
it
know
wasn't-
if there was a couple shots like in the trailer that looked like they would cross over at some point, but I don't.
They could.
It
There
looked
could
like
be a
it
through
wasn't
line.
quite as intense as Into the Multiverse, or I'm sorry, Into the
No,
Spider-Verse.
definitely not. Definitely not.
But it also looked like it had a little bit of that sort of cellular animation that Resistance had, but also not
Yes.
quite as
You're absolutely right. That's a great comparison. That's what I.
Yeah,
it looks
I
both
think
like-
Resistance. That sounds.
So yeah, almost like a blend between that cellular style that Resistance had and then the Into the Spider-Verse.
It's reminiscent. There was a Spider-Man 3D
where, like certain
animated
certain
series
sceneries
in
and whatnot
2000.
can be like almost photorealistic, but then it's clearly still
Yeah, well,
cartoonish.
3D animated. Yeah, but there was a Spider-Man like 3D animated show that was in like 2003, 2004. That's kind of similar as well. but-
Speaking of Spider-Verse, have we heard of any plans for
No.
the sequel?
Yeah. What do you mean?
There hasn't been anything. What do
Yeah.
you mean?
It's supposed to come out in 2022. What do you mean?
Yeah, but like yeah. I know
Well,
that.
it's being made.
No, I know. It's all right.
Well, I think that's
Yeah,
what I think that's what Matt.
exists.
I think
did
that's
you
what
not
Mike
know?
is asking.
Did you not know it was that? Oh, I thought. I mean, that's kind of older news, so I didn't know if you.
I
Did you
just
not
didn't know
that?
because I mean COVID threw everything off the rails. So
Yeah,
I
no,
didn't
it's
know
still
if-
it's
yeah,
still
no,
being
yeah.
made.
It's
yeah.
still. Yeah, it's still
still
going.
coming.
2022.
You see that movie, it didn't do very well.
I'm
at
more
the
worried
box
about
office. And
No Way
Sony
It's
Home
was
win the
like,
best
getting,
animated feature.
but it
Oscar,
won, yeah,
though.
but it
Like,
won a bunch of
got,
awards because it was an
yeah.
amazing movie, and so Sony was
Yeah,
like,
it
"Fine,
was-
well, I guess we'll make another one."
Yeah.
But
And
Oh,
we'll
no,
make it.
also
Sony,
mentioned Miles Morales
really?
as a character that we want.
I
even if it's not an
I'm
animation,
I'm
you
worried
can have-
about No Way Home because I
You're
feel like
always
that
worried about No Way Home.
Movie's
You
falling
are
apart.
You are
again.
always worried about No Way Home.
I think
every
He
time
needs
Johnny-
it to be good. He's got
Every
a lot
time
invested
Johnny talks
in
about
this.
it.
There's rumors of it getting pushed now. We still haven't gotten the trailer. There's a
Oh,
rumor that
that's
there's going to
true.
be one tomorrow.
We were
again,
thinking
but
we
there's
were
been
going to
so
get a
many
trailer
rumors.
like a couple weeks ago.
Right, we were
because
thinking
of
that now that
Loki.
Loki was done and
There's
they
been a
exploded
rumor
the
about it every
multiverse that we
week.
might see it, but
Yep.
Yeah. But
Yep.
somehow Disney has managed to put
It
themselves on the
seems
negative
like there's
news radar list right now.
issues with something behind the scenes, and that they might be pushing it to next year.
No,
and-
that will not make us
and-
happy.
oh, that's not going to go well
and
for
a whole
them.
trailer thing. Yeah, because like they have been silent about this movie, and it's driving people crazy. It's driving me
Yeah.
crazy.
It's nuts. I know it's driving you. I watch you
Well, we
like
were
deteriorate
mentioning-
every day.
I express it.
I
express it
wonder,
to
I have no
Lila a
evidence
lot.
of this. I'm just wildly speculating, but I wonder if there's some kind of post facto contract negotiation going on with the
With
stars
Sony
because of
and
what
Marvel.
everything else.
Well, the
that's happening.
freaking the normal contract negotiation was a mess. I don't know if you remember, but it was a whole
I
story
don't.
where like because they wanted to get, I mean, obviously this is all rumor mill at this point, a very reputable rumor mill, but like to get all the
Right.
3 Spider-Men on screen.
Oh,
All the different
oh.
Spider-Men were like, well, we want like Toby wanted one thing and Andrew wanted another, and it was to the point where this was like before, like it was like Toby was waiting so long to like finish the contract that his role in the movie was being diminished because they were like filming it, and it became this whole thing, and then they had to like, yeah, I don't know.
How
It was
much of that is like solely lawyers, and really like a lot of those guys are just sort of like
well, their
totally
teams or
willing to
whatever.
put
Oh,
this
their
on.
teams. It's their
Yeah.
agents and their legal teams and their man. It's
They
like
don't have
the-
just one person.
And you can
They
see
have
it
a-
now. Like his team was like, Toby's the original Spider-Man. He should be at this much, and then they
He
were
should
like,
be in it.
but this is
Mm.
Tom Holland's movie, and they're like, but Toby, and it's like,
Yeah. Also, y'all
But
should all
you're
just be
dealing
so
with like
grateful to be here.
multiple bankable stars, each of whom
Yeah.
has teams of like 20 people negotiating
Who,
for them.
who
Not
have
to
done
mention,
who have done right,
not to
and
mention like
multi-million
multiple huge
franchises.
studios trying
Yeah.
to negotiate like rights with each other and
Right.
and like
yeah, I don't
multiple
know.
people's creative
After this
visions
movie,
and-
I have no idea what they're gonna do
That's so
no idea.
strange.
after this
I feel
movie
like-
because
I
after
mean,
the
at
movie
least
the
it used to
contract's
be,
the
but-
contract's up. So
Like around Force Awakens, like Star Wars was still one of those. I mean, it still is, I guess, but like people will drop what they're doing and do anything to be in a Star Wars movie. Like there's
yeah,
so many
I-
people who would not
I
even
think-
like.
I
They
don't-
would tell their lawyers and their team like
I would say, yep,
whatever to make it
um,
happen. I'll do it for free. I will
do
pay
the Star Wars,
to be
yeah.
in it.
yeah, I will
yeah.
do that. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
just, you
People-
just
people
wish
are
more
still
people
doing it.
took
It's
that
great.
approach. That were
Richard,
just
Richard
like,
E. Grant is my favorite example in recent memory. Where he was
I
just
just
like,
love that
he's like,
dude.
I got to be in.
He's
a
been in
Star
Marvel
Wars.
and Star Wars.
So
and I
great.
just
Yeah.
feel like he like
So
could have a
you-
way
like,
bigger role.
there are a few people who have at this point, and I'm like, that's just we got to get the trifecta of people who have done something in like Marvel, Star Wars, and DC. I don't know how many there are. There are a couple, but
Willem Dafoe's done Marvel and DC.
Gotta
But he
get
hasn't
Willem
done a
Dafoe
Star
in
Wars, has he?
Wars.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I
I mean, the shows now, it's the actors.
Star
wanting
Wars.
to
Star
book
Wars has
those-
always like prided themselves on not having like those A-list actors like bringing them in. I feel like they always try to find either less
Star Wars lives in the B tier. Like like Tamora
Sure.
Morrison is an absolute legend, but he's not like an A-list or even like S.
He's an
tier
A-list
actor.
in my heart though.
he's
Exactly,
an A-list in New
exactly,
Zealand, but that's
exactly.
like
He's
one
A-
tiny
Zealand.
country.
Exactly.
so-
He's
Yeah.
you watch him and you're in love with him, but like he's not
Yeah.
like a huge actor, and like that's part of
No.
the charm.
But
It's
he
like-
acts like a huge actor, but I love it.
Exactly. That's why you love him.
Mhm.
He's just
I
so
love
great.
him.
But like
that
him
dude's
and
amazing.
like
he was
Ming-Na-
great in Aquaman. Did you guys like Aquaman?
That was
Oh, I
alright,
forgot
yeah.
Tim
You know
was
what?
in that too.
Aquaman was one of those movies where I
Terrible,
went
it
into
was
it totally
fine.
prepared to just like make fun of it, and
He was
then I came out of it
Aquaman's
being like,
dad.
that was
Yeah,
fun.
he was like, yeah.
I went in
Shoot,
prepared to
that's right.
absolutely hate it for multiple reasons, and I was like, it was
Why?
fine. Like,
The
it was
amount of
fine.
times, though, the
It
amount
just
of
seems
times in
so
that script,
silly.
Wait,
that
why
a
did you
conversation,
expect to not like
the,
it?
the amount of times in a
Just
script,
curious.
in that script, that a conversation is interrupted by someone exploding
I
the
know
wall.
that happened 3 or
It's-
4
It's
times.
so comical. I was
Yeah.
like, this movie's goofy.
I can literally think of 3 in my head. Right now.
I think it's worse than people always complain about the Star Wars, the Rise of Skywalker like knife thing. The statue lining up is way less feasible in that movie. And that
Yes.
whole like ridiculous
Oh,
Atlantis thing is
yeah.
way less feasible than the knife in space. Like
Yeah.
I was like, this doesn't make
The MacGuffin.
They're
Yeah,
working
the
on
mo-
the sequel.
Yeah,
I
they
don't
are.
know. Yeah.
Yeah, and then the whole confusion with that is the Amber Heard situation.
Amber
Johnny
Heard's
Depp
still in
situation,
it.
right?
The Amber
Like,
Heard situation
Why?
people
is
don't want
messy
her
Johnny
to
too.
Depp
participate.
is.
Why?
I didn't want to bring it up, but
I don't care because
feel very strongly
they
about
fired
that
Johnny.
situation.
They fired Johnny from Fantastic
Wait.
His
Beasts.
career is over. Like studios won't take him.
It's
You mean you
unfair.
feel strongly about it in terms of like you hate Amber Heard and you would rather she
It's
wasn't
just a
inoculated?
very
I just want
screwed up
Johnny to
situation.
get some work because he's like my
'Cause-
childhood. I don't know. He might be an actual bad man, but I don't know.
I
want
But
have
no,
a
but it's
feeling
like-
that that was a
Dude.
marriage of two terrible people, and I
Yeah.
doubt
Yes.
that anybody
That-
is crystal clean in that situation.
right. I agree
But
with that.
he's also, I mean, he's just
The
I don't want
WB
I don't want to
producer.
judge anybody for their personal aesthetic or
Right.
lifestyle, but he's definitely I don't know, just gone around a few bends since
Yeah.
even your
Right.
childhood, let alone our childhood. He was around in
So
our
a
childhood too.
producer of WB came out and for Aquaman came out and said yeah, we just straight up don't the situation was brought up why is Amber Heard still working and stuff Johnny Depp got fired from WB projects he got fired from the Harry Potter the Fantastic Beasts.
The Fantastic, yeah.
and
Grindelwald.
she gets off free. He was basically yeah, we don't really care. It was just it's very odd how the situation is being handled because it's it really is only one-sided. But yeah,
Annoying.
I don't know.
All I know is that she cheated on him with Elon Musk, and that's suspect.
Ew.
Oh no.
That's-
Oh no, there's a lot more. than
That's-
I really
that's
don't
suspect.
care. That I have zero opinion about.
With Elon
honestly.
Musk?
I mean that's gross, but
With the
whether
I
Musk
don't even know
Meister?
about the Elon Musk
cheated
thing.
is
I
not my
know.
concern.
Yeah, Elon Musk has
Yeah.
dated some interesting people. He dated Jennifer
Blah.
Lawrence too. Pretty sure.
Blah.
He did.
Yeah, it's
I
very
didn't know
funny.
that.
Elon Musk gets
I-
around.
Oh my
Ew.
goodness.
Yeah.
I had no idea.
Interesting.
Yeah,
topic
it's
here.
it's
So
unfortunate.
bad
but-
batch.
So bad batch. Well, I mean, we have Jenny here.
Yeah, I
Uh,
didn't-
Yeah,
Well,
but
then
it's
I
your
don't know.
stream. Talk about whatever you like. I came because I,
All right,
I had
so,
strong
yeah,
feelings
all right.
about the Scarlet thing, and because I was curious
Hawkeye
to
got
hear
a
about
date.
what if.
Hawkeye,
yeah.
Hawkeye
Okay.
got
So
a
you
date.
actually we
Yeah,
were
tell us
talking
about this.
earlier.
Levi was mentioning that there was some photos from set or something as
Yeah,
well.
there was just one. There was just one little promo photo, but yeah. So
November
Hawkeye's coming out
24th.
November 24th.
We were talking earlier about how Hawkeye is the next show, and that we've had
Yeah.
since January.
well, what if
consistent
then? Yeah, then after
Marvel
Yes.
television, where basically on a weekly
Miss
basis.
Miss
we've
Marvel
had-
is coming out as well. I think
I
Miss Marvel was before.
I bet it premiered. No, I bet it premieres
No, I don't
later.
think so.
Do
Well,
you
we've
feel
got
like this
what
could
if
be a
that
little
would've
bit
been
of
coming.
lost momentum?
I think it is before because think about it. November.
It would have been announced by
24th.
now.
We've got what if coming right up
What do
right
you
now
mean?
in
Right.
August, and then we've
mean,
got
Johnny?
Shang-Chi September 3rd, and Eternals is in October, I think, and then Hawkeye's November. Do we
Yeah, I
know
mean,
the
Yeah,
Johnny,
but
Johnny,
Is
think
Miss
about
Marvel's
it.
Marvel?
supposed to come out.
Johnny,
'cause
think about it. If they
how many
announced
weeks is that for
Hawkeye,
Hawkeye?
and they haven't announced Miss Marvel yet, one is probably coming.
No, I
before
know,
it.
but think about the date, November 24th.
It's
How many
probably
weeks
it
does that
could
leave
it
for
probably
Hawkeye?
well technically Book of Boba is 2021, but it's the last week.
It's
of 2021.
Christmas.
I know, but
right?
think
That's
about it. So
coming.
that's
So they probably
four
just double up.
episodes. That's 4 or 5 episodes for Hawkeye. That
Probably
doesn't make
6.
sense.
No,
I'm
well, no,
looking
how
it
is
up
that
right
6 weeks?
now. I don't see any release date listed. I'm looking at a
That doesn't
article
make
about it
sense.
right now. I
That
don't
doesn't
see
make
any
sense.
release date.
I think they probably just double up with Book of Boba.
All right, let me do a little math here.
Yeah.
But no, I don't know, man. I don't know. Hold on, let me see. So November, 1, 2, 3, 6. At the end of the year, it could end. There's a possibility if it is 6 episodes, which I believe it is.
That's funny.
It'll last until the end of the year. So I feel like Miss Marvel has to come in between that.
It's
Musk was
currently
married to that woman
listed
for-
as coming after Hawkeye, and it'll
After
be-
Hawkeye, so it's
it-
next
yeah,
year.
it's listed. It's slated to come in late 2021, so probably December. Probably same thing with Book of Boba, Christmas time release
Okay,
is what
alright,
that's looking
alright.
like. It's
Mm.
currently in post production, listed as late
Right.
2021 after Hawkeye.
After Hawkeye. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
All right. Very well. Well,
Oh.
figured it out. Bunch of sleuths. Bunch of
Yeah.
sleuths.
So,
Yeah, I think
Hawkeye's
it's
gonna
just
be the
double
next
up.
weekly scenario that we're looking to, and that's a ways down the road.
What if? What if?
Oh,
Honestly.
that's true. Although is what it are they were planning on dropping Visions all at once, right?
Yeah,
They
Visions
are.
is all at once. But
Is
I think
what
what
if
if is
definitely going to
weekly.
be weekly?
I think what if is
Yes.
Yeah, I almost wish that they were doing that with Visions, but since they are short films,
They're just short. Yeah.
yeah, that
Yeah,
gonna be
it's
a lot
tough
easier
because
to
they're
consume it
they
in one
combined
sitting.
2 of them into one big story, so I think they're gonna vary in length. Like one's gonna be like an hour, one's gonna be like 10 minutes. Like it's gonna be.
2 of them that are by
Very-
different creators into one big story.
Yes.
That's
No,
interesting.
same
Okay.
creators, but they just melded the stories together.
I
Gotta
feel like
say,
though we've
the
had
like
so much
art
momentum
from that
with-
is going to be off the handle. It's going to be so.
Can't wait.
between
I'm
Wanda and
very
Falcon
excited
and
for
Loki,
Visions.
the momentum has been consistent. I feel like there's going to be a
Right.
little bit of hiccup in that now if we're
So
going to
funny
We
to-
only got movies. Yeah, think
Yeah.
about that.
Yeah,
We
but
got,
even
we
Well,
got
they
movies are
should
like
take a
you get a week of
lesson
conversation
from
out of it
this
at
too,
most,
though. Like they
really.
have to recognize that we are not in a post-COVID world. We're still in the COVID
Yeah.
world, and
Well,
they're
we
really
talked-
going to have to
Right.
think about
How
how
long
they
did we talk
approach
about
these
Black Widow
releases.
for? We talked about it for like 3 or 4 days, and then that was that. Like we haven't really, other than the Scarlet versus
Right.
Disney situation that just came up, like which is bringing it back. But like we kind of stopped talking about it already.
Elon Musk was married
So,
to that
like-
woman from Westworld. That's a fun
I'm
fact.
sure we're gonna love
That
Shang-Chi,
Which
we're
woman
gonna
from
love Eternals,
Westworld?
too.
I know that was it was a joke
Who
on my
was he
part. 'cause
married
there's,
to?
there's a lot of women in Westworld, but if you
I
remember,
know.
in she was in the first. She was like in the flashback plot. If you're very familiar with Westworld,
I
I've
am,
seen-
but,
I've
like-
seen the show many times.
Yeah.
In the flashback plot when you're dealing with the guy, young William, but it's the
Right.
guy from Always Sunny in Philadelphia who's playing him. It's great. Anyway,
Jimmy Simpson.
Jimmy
the
Simpson.
yeah.
Yeah.
White hat.
Like the main host in the flashback timeline. She's like a regular in season 2. She's blonde hair. She wears a white dress. She's like the person who he doesn't know she's
Oh,
a
she's
host.
the one who greets
Oh.
them, who's
Yeah, yeah,
aware,
yeah.
you know, in the modern day, she's aware that she's a host. She's
Yeah,
like
yeah.
the greeter.
Yeah, she's.
I don't know
she's
that
like-
actor's name, but
Yeah,
he
she was married
to
to
her?
Elon Musk.
I have
was
3
like,
things to
That's
talk
so
about.
random.
It's so random, right? I was like, I was looking at it. I was like, looked up. I was like, who's Elon Musk been
I
with? I was
had
like,
no
she's in
idea.
Westworld. I was like,
I
that's too
had
funny.
absolutely no idea.
Johnny,
Right.
you said you have 3 things to
I
talk
have
about.
3 things to say. So
Okay.
there's a rumor.
Sorry,
a
that's what
rumor.
Lavelle. That's what Lavelle said. Jenny needs to primary Biden.
I don't want it.
There is 3.
man.
Sorry. So there is a rumor going around about the Netflix characters and where they're gonna show up and what's gonna happen.
Yeah, I've seen
So
that.
Vincent D'Onofrio, which is who plays Kingpin in Daredevil,
Yes.
and he's such an amazing performance and such an
I am the
amazing
pestilence.
character.
I have to disagree with that, actually.
What?
I
I
love
He's the
love
best.
that actor. Like, I absolutely
like
like. He
different
is one
versions
of my
of Kingpin,
favorites.
He's
but-
Egger.
Yeah,
The
Egger.
best.
But
Yeah.
like
Egger.
amongst other things, he is an incredible actor. He
Yeah,
is like a great actor. But
And
that
scene, that
performance as
finale
Kingpin,
episode.
I was just like, what
I
is
am
this
the
like?
dark-
It's so
voice
different
voice
though.
he
I
was
am the
doing.
I
It
know.
was so like much. It was so
I
like,
love it.
I loved
did.
it though.
He's like
I
he's like
don't
a big
know.
guy. He's like very sensitive. I love it. I loved it. I love it. Oh, season 3.
Look at this.
Season 3. So amazing.
I'd
Anyways,
still be excited
there's a
to see him.
rumor-
Though. I love him.
that he will be first appearing in. He'll be coming back. First appearing in Hawkeye, which is coming out
Yeah.
this year. So
Guy.
could that makes sense to me?
Maybe Elena's involved. Well, we don't.
And then we know about
don't
these
know.
Daredevil rumors for No Way Home, and then there's
Right.
also I heard a couple things about
Hulk.
Jessica
maybe
Jones
Daredevil
has
being
been
in
rumored
Hawkeye.
for She-Hulk, which would
Yes,
make sense.
that was big. That was big.
Yeah, because
Yeah, there's something about Daredevil and Hawkeye. I don't think that's gonna happen, but I feel like Kingpin could be a likely.
Where's
achievable
Iron
thing.
Fist?
I feel like Yelena might
He's
not
not
even be.
coming
Ha-
back.
Iron Fist and Luke Cage are gonna be recast, and they're gonna make a Heroes for Hire series. I will bet money on that.
Iron
They're gonna
Fist.
recast Luke Cage, you think?
No,
I
I don't
feel
think.
like
I don't think
they're
they
gonna
That
do
recast
show
Luke
did
Cage.
well. Like
Luke
I don't
Cage
think
is-
they need to. Mike
I think-
Coulter's
I
not
think-
gonna win any
yeah.
Mike
acting
Coulter's
awards,
great.
but like
That's true.
he's
He is-
not
he
gonna
was-
win like an Emmy
he was
anytime
great.
soon. But
I
he
feel
just
like-
he looks like that character. He
Yeah,
he
he
did
is-
that.
he
he
is
did
the
the
No, I
character.
know. No, he
You
was
let
great.
yeah, Iron Fist though. Iron Fist is gone.
Yeah.
Let's
I
just
know.
do away with
I
that
know.
entire story.
I don't know.
But-
But I feel like they're definitely going to be doing that eventually. But all right,
Did
there's
you-
another thing. So there's a better look at Carnage and
yeah.
and Venom 2, and it looks amazing.
Never
Very-
forget
I'm
Woody
shocked.
Harrelson's weird hair in the
shocked.
post-credit scene of the.
I don't want to remember it. I don't remember that.
As
But his
Cletus
design in the
Cassidy.
movie looks
Yeah,
so
he
good.
looks so goofy.
He looks
but-
like Bozo the
He
Clown
looks-
or
he
something.
He
really
looks goofy. But
Yeah.
Carnage looks sick. You got to if you haven't seen it, check it out.
Yeah.
I haven't.
um,
I haven't watched it.
Carnage
There's a few
looks-
brief shots of it in the trailer.
Yeah, no, but
Carnage.
there's a couple pictures that came out. They did this. They had like these like statues for promo for the movie. There's one of Carnage. Looks so good.
Yeah.
So
When
good.
does that movie come out? I think it comes out sooner than I think.
It's
Johnny,
coming
do you
out.
still think
very
that
soon.
Matt Murdock is gonna end up in Spidey? Do you still think this
Yeah.
is a good theory? I mean, it makes sense. I'm just wondering like where you are on that.
Spider-Man and Daredevil is all I want to see in a movie.
The
That's
alleged
all I
leak.
want.
The alleged
That's all I
leak
want.
is that he cameos as Peter's lawyer because Peter is defending the lawsuit that
There is a court
J. Jonah
scene.
Jameson.
Right.
So you
we
don't
know
get
there's a court
Daredevil, you
scene,
get
right?
Matt Murdock.
Right.
You get Matt
so
Murdock,
there was an
the
there was an
lawyer. You get,
extras
like-
call a while ago about a court scene, so that's kind of led
Yeah,
those
and it made
suspicions
people
of.
think.
And
that.
also Charlie Cox was had a convention scheduled and he had to cancel because they said he was working on a project. And it was right around the time they were filming.
Scene. Yeah.
So I think I do believe that he'll be in the film, which is very exciting.
Do you think it's
Cameo.
likely just to be Matt Murdock?
Yeah, I
the
think
lawyer?
it's just
Are
Matt
we
Murdock.
gonna see Daredevil?
You
in
know I
costume,
want
do you think?
Daredevil. You
I know
already
you
know I
want
want
it.
Daredevil.
It's too busy already. I think Matt Murdock.
It's gonna be
Just
Matt Murdock.
Murdock.
It's just it is too busy. But
He'll
like
be
there was
Daredevil.
again, there
He'll be
was something in
Daredevil and
Hawkeye.
She-Hulk.
If he could first be introduced in Hawkeye, I mean that could be really cool.
No. He's gonna be in No Way Home, then he's gonna be in She-Hulk because that's also a lawyer thing, and he'll be Daredevil in that.
Yeah,
Right.
that is.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but-
because she's a lawyer as well.
Yeah.
Because that makes sense.
That could
That's
be
like
really
a lawyer.
good.
That's
And the
'cause
Jessica Jones thing would make sense
Now,
there
so the
as
Murdoch-
well.
I'm pretty sure it was advertised
Yeah.
as like a legal comedy or what it was. It wasn't a
Yeah.
legal drama.
It
They were
is.
like, it's a
That's what
legal
they say.
comedy show.
That's what
but
they say, a
for
legal
She-Hulk.
comedy, which just sounds weird, but
So I think they throw Charlie Cox in that as Daredevil, kicking some ass. And that makes sense.
that's all I want. That's all I want. Just be Spider-Man, Daredevil on screen. That's all I
I'm
want.
kind of wondering right now though, is Yelena not going to be featured that heavily in Hawkeye because
No, I think she will.
Oh no,
I
she'll
think
have
she will.
She'll
She'll
be
be the-
pretty
she'll be the
good.
villain.
necessarily know
She'll be the-
ahead of
she'll be
time
the
how much
Sylvie.
everyone was going to love her more than Black Widow herself.
I don't know. I think
No, she'll be very prominent.
she'll be the Sylvie of Loki. She'll
Yeah.
be like the villain for the first half of the season.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
it'll be like, oh, she's not actually a bad person. Wow.
Yeah.
And then Vincent D'Onofrio will come in.
Because I was just kind of thinking in my mind that they would have been,
Like,
in production for Hawkeye, like before they had a chance to like see the feedback on Yelena and how much everyone loved her.
Yeah.
And that like maybe she's not heavily featured as heavily as we would like her to be. Even
On
if
the
she
other
is.
hand, they set up this entire post-credit
Yeah, the whole
sequence
thing.
where like she's being sent after Clint.
Yeah, no,
So-
I'm saying no, it'll be there, and they're clearly saying like it's going to be there. I'm just saying like it may not be like a central item. It might be one of
Maybe not,
those
but what I'm hoping
things-
for, and again, this is just me sort of speculating and hoping. I haven't read anything, but what I'm hoping for is that there's kind of a Wanda Maximoff story arc for her in the course of Hawkeye. Like she goes after Clint, but then realizes that like that was her sister's best friend and that she's on the wrong side. And
Mhm.
you know, I'm like similar to how like Wanda was fighting the Avengers and then became one. I'm hoping that that's the story arc we get out of her, which would
Yeah.
also set her up for future projects
Yeah.
fighting with
At the end of Black
Avengers.
Widow, what's her name? Val was like, "Ooh, he's kind of cute" or whatever, but that doesn't work because he's got a wife and kids, and they can't have them as like a, dueling at first and then falling. in love
Well,
with
we
each
don't know
other.
though. We don't know how that worked out after he was Ronin and everyone got snapped back. He may not be with his wife and kids anymore.
Wait, I thought they reunited though at the.
I
end
know,
of-
but maybe it was like things went bad because I don't know. Maybe.
I'm
Yeah.
sure.
Regardless, I think that he's not going to be really the focus of the show. I think this is going to be Kate Bishop's show, just the way that Black Widow was really Yelena's.
Yeah, I
movie,
feel
not
like he's
Star
So
gotta-
Wars.
if Yelena is gonna
So-
be in Hawkeye, does that mean John Walker might be?
Potentially.
I
He
mean,
can
that would
cameo.
be. That's the kind of thing where it's like the storylines are actually
Yes.
intermingling there, and it makes perfect sense. It's not like
It
we're gonna grow this
does.
character
It
in, and this
tie that
character
would
in.
tie multiple properties together. I think the real
Yeah.
question there is what version of Val this is going to be, because
Yeah.
she has had multiple different storylines in the comics, and this might not be any of them. This might be a brand new version of her. So I think that the answer
Which
to
I feel
that,
like it is.
I think it might be, and I think the
Yeah.
answer to like how are they going to use those two characters, Yelena and John Walker, U.S. Agent, is going to depend what the next step is for Val in this storyline. Like where her story goes is going to be where John Walker's story goes as well, and we don't know yet.
Exactly. There's one more thing. There's a Batgirl movie that it's taken so many years for this to get in development, but now it's in
Because
official
Joss Whedon was
development.
attached.
Joss Whedon was attached, and thank God he didn't make it. But the Batgirl actor is cast Leslie Grace.
Do you remember when?
and
Did you
also-
guys see during the press tour for Black Widow and Scarlett Johansson was talking about Joss Whedon? So funny.
Yeah,
I don't think so.
know.
What'd she say?
Oh,
she-
she was
no, she-
praising him.
She was saying like positive things, and everyone around her was
She
just
was
like,
praising
"What
him,
are
and
you
everyone was
saying?"
very uncomfortable.
This
There's a
is
video.
yet
They did it
another
over
example
Zoom.
of
You can
Scarlett
watch it.
stepping in it frequently.
So
Like,
funny.
you know?
I know, but it's just been this past like
Was
week
that
or
like at the
so.
same time that the whole Charisma Carpenter thing was
It was like
happening?
it was
as well?
like it was like 2 weeks ago. So
This
it
was
recent.
this
Okay,
was this
so-
was this has been like very together. Like this has been in the same like 1 or 2 weeks.
It's very funny.
all this stuff.
very
It's
funny.
weird.
So
I
in
don't know
other words,
what-
she should have been like well aware of the whole.
I think she's
But that's
aware of
why-
what she's
But that's why
doing,
it's so
though.
weird to me to circle back to the whole lawsuit thing, because like in that she's with Kevin Feige and the rest of the cast, and they're all talking with each other, and she's all smiling. She's like, "Oh man, Joss Whedon, what a great guy," and we're just like, and then like a week later she's suing, and I'm like, this
Yeah.
is very strange. But you
Is
know,
That's just
whatever.
her
It's
being a
very
professional.
odd
Like she has no
timing.
need to be a dick about it when she has lawyers taking care of it.
Yeah,
you
I
know,
guess, but like,
she
Yeah.
also has.
but
part
like
of her
everyone
job
is like
being a
jiving, and then
professional.
they all cringe so bad when she talks about Joss Whedon.
No, yeah, I mean, yeah, there's yeah. watch
But
the
yeah, I
clip.
mean,
There's a clip
it's
of
not
it.
just her being a dick. Like, it's almost a dick to say nothing in the wake of the Charisma Carpenter, Ray Fisher
Yeah,
scenario. Like, if you don't say
Right,
anything,
but-
you're kind of like, yeah,
Mm.
I don't know.
He's going to Rhode Island Comic Con.
Ray Fisher
is?
or Joss
Ray
Whedon.
Fisher.
Okay, good for him.
Yeah. Not
He's
Joss
cool.
Whedon. Nope.
That's good.
I don't understand
Is
how
that
he's
good with
still
Joss
working.
That, when
Whedon.
is
I
that?
don't need to miss.
November? When is
Yeah.
that?
I've
Yeah,
never
that-
been. I might go. We should
Yeah,
go.
I
You
might
guys-
want to go
you guys-
too because I'm
Yeah.
just
Yeah, I was
hearing,
about to say,
just
that's
hearing
close. Let's go.
Comic-Con and hearing
cool.
that these events
What are
are
their
happening
COVID
again is really-
protocols?
That makes me happy.
Let's find out, and then like maybe
Um,
go.
Pretty good, I think.
Okay.
Oh, Mike, the entire like everyone but Ralph Macchio is going for the Cobra Kai cast.
To Rhode Island Comic Con?
Yeah.
Oh shit, Jenny, we should go.
Yeah, we should look
Okay,
at.
sorry,
I
sorry,
am
we can talk about this
concerned
after
about,
stream.
Yeah,
like,
Batgirl,
Sorry.
Batgirl,
guardrails
Batgirl.
and COVID safety,
Yeah,
but let's
Batgirl,
check
so
it,
yeah.
check it out.
There's so yeah, background actress cast Leslie Grace. Don't really know what she's been in. But there's rumors that J.K. Simmons is gonna come back as Commissioner Gordon, which would be cool. So
Yes.
that's so again, DC is just so confusing with their timeline of if this isn't the DCEU, because obviously he played
They
Commissioner
just,
Gordon
they just make movies.
and
over
Justice
there.
League,
They just make the movie.
and the Suicide Squad's coming out next
Oh
week.
yeah, very excited.
So
That's very exciting.
And James Gunn has like said like yeah, this is just has nothing to do with the DCEU. Like this is its own thing.
It's still in the
It's very
DCEU.
confusing, but I know, but it is. I know it isn't. It
Yeah, I
isn't,
read a
it's-
weird article that was in the LA Times that was like, it's
confusing.
not really a sequel, it's a second chance,
It's a
it's a
sec-
redo rather
But
than
with-
like,
with some of the same actors.
But some
who
with the
Right.
same actors playing the
experienced
same
the,
characters.
but who experienced the events of the last film.
I'm like,
but
how
not
many
really.
times can you redo one
know, it's
film
like, hold
with
on,
the same
hold on.
actors before people
I mean,
get
Jai
it
bored?
truly
Courtney-
feels
Hold
like a
on.
comic book where it's just like here's another
Yeah, that's
Here's
true.
another version
That's
of
true.
this.
of the same thing.
Yeah, I DC is tough. DC stuff. Oh, also,
Big
yeah.
old mess.
There's so
Big
there's
old
more
mess.
flat the
It's
the
been
Flash
downhill
movie.
since Batman around.
Yeah, the flat. Well, no, Dark
It's a
Knight
joke
trilogy.
there. It was a joke.
Okay.
Lavelle's wondering
been a lot
about
of good
whether
films
Henry
since
Cavill
Batman
is
and
coming
Robin.
back. I
Uh,
have no idea, Lavelle, but I kind of doubt it because it's
I-
been such a mess, and I think he's still kind of pissed off.
yeah.
I don't know.
He's
I-
also
I-
famously like hard to work with.
Yep.
Hey, if you haven't watched Superman and Lois, and if you want to see something Superman, watch
Don't
that
even
show,
get me started because
it's-
that confuses me too. Because there's the whole like CW verse, and some of those shows exist in the same timeline, and some of
Yeah.
them don't.
Yeah.
and it's
Very
like,
Ezra
confusing.
Miller was on.
yeah, Ezra Miller was on the Flash.
on the
I was
show?
like, what the hell is this? What does this mean?
I like that though. That was a very cool.
I know, but like,
sequence.
it's so bizarre though. Like what
It's
even is he
multiverse,
coming
man.
from?
They
No, but,
they're doing a way more sloppily put together and just shittier version of the multiverse.
yeah, it's
but
just
it is
garbage.
still the multiverse.
It's just confusing nonsense.
It is very
Here's a
confusing.
good
I will
question.
100%
Hey,
agree.
Mandy left a £5 super chat. Thanks, Mandy. Thanks. It's change the subject. Have any of you
Yeah,
watched New
I have
Masters of the
not.
Universe
It's on my
series?
list. It's on the list. It's on the
No,
short list
Looking forward
I-
to part 2.
because they're
I've
short
not.
episodes.
There's still
only like-
only a movie.
There's only like
movie in
22.
development,
There's only like
live action
22
one.
minute episodes. So I'm gonna binge them this weekend.
Who's the
Smallville was
voice? Who
better.
are the voice? Like who's He-Man?
Oh, no idea. Oh, wow.
I know
I'll
Mark.
take a
I know
look.
Mark Hamill is Skeletor, and that's all I need.
Mark
Oh,
Hamill
that's
is
sick.
Yeah, he's been
Skeletor,
tweeting about that. He's been tweeting about like playing Skeletor and his influences. And
Yeah.
Have any of you
so
have any of
funny.
you seen the Masters of the Universe movie from the 80s?
Yes. Oh,
No, I
yes.
have not.
100%. I definitely had a He-Man like figure at one point too. I wasn't a big fan of that.
Dolph. What is
I
his name?
also had
Dolph
like Care
Lundgren?
Bears and
Lundgren?
Rainbow Bright
Lund-
stuff
Lundgren?
too. So
I don't know. I think I had the Rainbow Bright.
I
was
had a
a
Rainbow Bright clock
big
on my
Rainbow
wall.
Bright.
Remember when I was?
Oh
like
my
4
gosh,
years
you
old?
did.
Yeah.
That's right, because your room was rainbow.
Do you guys
Yes,
have
Johnny.
Mike had a
Yeah,
rainbow
yeah, I remember
room
that.
as
I
a
remember
kid.
that.
Johnny,
Yeah,
Johnny,
yeah.
you remember when we were young?
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
Growing up.
I remember that I was a giant fan of She-Ra, but my mother would not let me watch it because it was not
By the way,
educational enough.
She-Ra is still on. Oh, actually, I
Yeah,
think
well,
it was
there's the
new
new
one.
She-Ra. I
Yeah,
loved
Yeah,
it. I
I
thought
think
it was
the new
great.
She-Ra got
Oh, you did
canceled,
watch
though,
it.
didn't
That's
it?
good. Yeah.
Did it get canceled?
No, I
I
think
I
it's
think
still
for
it
this
going.
was after
show.
2 seasons. I think.
I believe so. I think for this show, yeah.
Lavelle, I don't know
If you
what
haven't
you're
watched the
talking
new She-Ra
Just
on
let 'em go.
Netflix,
Let
I
'em-
thought it was
let 'em be.
great. But
Anyway, Princesses of Power. Yeah, apparently the fans of that, the new version, were like really into it, and that it was like.
I think it's
supposedly, like-
great. I think it's so good.
Of this show?
No, of She-Ra.
Oh,
about.
She-Ra,
Johnny,
okay.
Johnny, you want to take
Yeah.
Lavelle's question?
But I
What's
think
it-
Masters
what's
of the
Temple
Universe
Doom?
and
Do
She-Ra
I?
are like go hand in hand.
Yeah.
So does
It's-
somebody
it's
want to
similar.
talk? Lavelle's wondering what
Smallville was
Masters of
better.
the Universe is. Do you guys
Not
want
really.
to talk about what
What's
that
Masters
is?
of the
Because
Universe?
Mandy's interested in it and Lavelle's wondering about it. Do you want to like talk about
You've
what that
never
is
heard of
quickly?
He-Man before? He-Man?
What Masters of the Universe is? I mean,
No,
it'd be better if we showed a picture.
Lavelle asked, "What's the Temple of Doom?"
Oh.
Oh.
Wait, what?
That's
What
the
is
Indiana
a
Jones
temple
movie.
I
of
think he's
Doom
saying that just to
generally,
piss
or-
Johnny off because that's Johnny's favorite Indiana Jones movie, right?
Yeah.
that I still can't understand.
You're the first
but-
person I've ever met who said
Ever.
that.
He met
Like,
someone
Who
yesterday.
said that? Who said that yesterday? Wait, it was
It was Star Wars
right?
Explored. Star Wars
Explored.
Explored had a
The
photo.
Temple of Doom is his
Yeah,
favorite.
he had a photo. He had a framed photo of Short
Short
Round on his
Round
wall
behind him.
And I was like,
my
"What?
man.
Is that Short
That is
Round?"
my man,
And
dude.
they were like Temple of Doom, and I was like, "Oh my
I
god!"
mean, de
goodness.
gustabis non disputant est, but I do not get it.
It
Like
was
that's
so
for
funny.
me the
It
one that
was
you have
sick.
to like forget
It
about
was just
and
a
get
framed
over.
photo of Short Round. I was like, "That's great. I love that so much."
Wow. I feel like most
That
people
was
like
the-
Last
that-
Crusade
okay.
the most.
That movie
Yeah.
had the best Lego game levels too. I'll say
I have
it.
Congratulations.
no
Yeah,
knowledge of the Lego game, but
congratulations
I don't know,
to
Johnny.
TT Games for the Lego game. The movie is still
Yeah, those Indiana Jones games slap. So
And
okay.
they're filming Indiana Jones 5, right?
Yeah.
I think that
It's
movie fell
happening.
apart. I think
think
that movie
so?
fell
It's-
apart.
It's
I don't think it's
supposedly.
happening. I don't think it's
Harrison
happening.
Ford's in his 70s.
He's gonna
like,
fall apart.
I
Yeah.
was eager to see Shia LaBeouf
had
take
some
up the
kind of,
mantle,
like,
but
Didn't he have some
Shoulder
kind of
injury,
knee
yeah.
injury or something happened to him?
Yeah,
Do you
I
while
think it
filming
just
The
doesn't-
Force Awakens,
was
he
a
got his leg
rehearsal. It
crushed.
was a
Dude, while filming The
rehearsal,
Force
too.
Awakens, he got crashed
Yeah.
a plane on like a golf course.
Yeah,
Dude,
that was
Harrison
there you
Ford
go.
has
There
sustained
you
some
go.
crazy
That man's
injuries
nuts.
in his
Uh,
day.
Yeah, I think this is. I don't know if the movie's gonna happen. I'm gonna be completely honest. It just doesn't seem like.
Yeah.
You just think it's gonna
Yeah.
fall apart completely?
Doesn't need to.
It seems like it is going to. Yes.
It's like we just did
Certainly.
Aliens. What are we gonna do now?
Yeah.
I don't think they can. I don't
Also,
think
it's
they
like,
can
what can they do with
let
story?
that happen. It's
just
like it will. Be,
I
it's
don't
gonna
know.
be like
You went from
Kathleen
Nazis
Kennedy's.
to aliens.
But it's
so
gonna
we
be
got-
it's gonna be
Right.
Kathleen Kennedy's last movie, and it's gonna be probably like one of Harrison's last movie, and it's James Mangold, and it's backed by Disney. I don't know if they can just.
Yeah.
I
Harrison's
don't
probably
know.
asleep right now.
I don't know if they can just let it
go
go.
out on a bang.
I don't know if they can just let it go.
Have some fun with it. They already did the whole Karen Allen.
prove me
reunion
wrong. I
thing,
want to be
like-
proven wrong, but it's just like I don't
It'll
know,
come out.
man.
They cast Toby Jones and Mads Mikkelsen.
No, I know
and
what they
Antonio
did.
Banderas.
It was so good. That's
And
It's
Anto-
funny.
Mads
It's funny
Mikkelsen's
thinking that when
so
when
good.
Crystal Skull came out, it was already like it's too late for this. And to think about
Oh
how
no,
Hey,
it really
hey,
was, and that
hey,
movie
I love
suffered
Crystal
as
Skull.
well.
ago
Hey,
now.
hey now, hey,
Yeah,
hey.
yeah.
I
Leave
love
I
Crystal
liked it
Skull.
too, but I
Alright.
enjoyed it.
Wrong.
Like
I
I
like
enjoyed
I
that
enjoyed
more than I
it.
thought I was
Or-
going
or
to. Like
Levi's
it was
wrong.
it was an entertaining, like
I think
cinematic
it gets.
experience.
I think it gets undue crap. I think.
Oh, it's certainly, dude.
No. I good one, Johnny.
Dude.
No, I think it's got some great moments. Watching Indiana Jones be a dad is great, and that's all.
I didn't hate it as much as a
But
lot
he's
of
not
people
that
hate it.
great
Like
of a
I
dad.
had fun
He is,
watching
though.
it,
He's
but,
great at
like,
that.
It's not a classic.
really.
Like the
He's like
others.
Ravenworth is your mother.
No, he's like
Yeah.
Marion, and he's like, I have a
Yeah.
son. Oh, it's great, and he's like, go to school. It's great. No, it's
Yeah.
wonderful.
There is like this extended Smallville discourse happening in the chat. Everybody's
Yeah,
because
I brought up Superman and Lois.
So
Superman
I
and
guess
Lois
yeah, that's
is
why because you were talking about
just
Superman and Lois.
all around.
When Jenny and I
It
were
looks
younger
better.
in the 90s, it was Clark Kent and the New Adventures of Superman.
Oh,
no,
God, it was Dean
Lois
Cain.
and Clark. Lois and Clark.
Oh
Yeah.
my
Yeah,
God,
I
it
know,
was
I know.
Dean Cain
It's
who was
Superman
like
and
the
Lois,
Cain.
Lois and
worst.
Clark. Yeah.
Yeah, that
Yeah,
guy
worst.
is now like the champion of
Total kook.
It was the
complaining about
worst
Superman
show.
and
Complaining
superheroes
about
now.
yeah.
Complaining about new comics. That guy all the time. He's like, I'm
Yeah,
Superman.
he went-
Actually,
went on a news- he
Lavelle,
went on a
Dean
news
Cain is
station.
another Princeton graduate, right?
He went-
Jenny?
He is,
He
and
was
he's
quarterback
also
of
like
football
a
at
crazy
Princeton,
right-wing
yeah.
extremist now. He's
Yeah, he,
like he just does Hallmark movies.
He
But
complains
like
about
he's
comics a
gone
lot.
really
He
off
went on a
the
news
end.
station and complained about Captain America's like
yeah,
design or
that's what it
something.
was. Yeah, he was
Wait,
like, Captain
really?
America's ruined.
Yeah, you gotta
Oh,
watch that. It's
God.
a funny clip. It's a
Oh
funny
yeah,
clip.
no, he's like
Like, I'm
he's-
Superman and I hate
It's
Captain
just
America.
absurd that like that,
Did
that
he
they
say
even
Captain
like
America
made a
was ruined
story on
because of
that.
liberal ideals? Is that was?
Yeah, no,
essentially,
literally,
yes.
Something
literally,
like
he's
that.
like too woke or whatever.
No,
He's-
because like his point was like I don't know. He feels like people trash America, and it's like cool to trash America. He said something like that. I don't know. It was whatever.
yeah, it's
Oh,
like
well.
it's never okay to say anything bad about America ever. And
Yeah, I don't
wokeness is
Anyway,
destroying the
Terry
fabric
Hatcher
of
was Lois
patriotism.
Lane, and
Yeah, she's really nice. She's really nice, but that was a terrible show.
Check
Was
out
it,
Superman
though?
and Lois. It's so good.
Superman.
I mean,
and
these
Bat-
youngins, aka John. You know, we all hate
I know
Joss Whedon, but hey,
Smallville. I'm not that
Firefly's a
young.
good show, and so is Buffy.
I watch.
I'm
I love
Firefly
90s
is
shows.
so
I love Spider-Man.
It's
problematic
unfortunate
from,
that
like-
guy.
It's a
It's
90s show.
unfortunately that guy made good TV because God doesn't.
Well,
suck.
Buffy is still one
Yeah.
of the most iconic shows of all time for good reason.
I
I
never
have
watched
issues with Firefly from a colonial perspective.
We
It
found
is
this-
politically like
Remember,
deeply
Jenny? I found a
problematic,
scene
but-
of Pedro Pascal from Buffy.
Yes,
and
little baby Pedro Pascal. He was like 17. He
was
played a
probably, like,
teenager in
17
like
or
one
18 years
episode
old,
of
yeah.
Buffy.
That's
So
funny.
So
funny.
cute. He was
Look
like
it up
the
on. Look it
lowest
up right now,
cute
guys.
baby.
Pedro
was so
Pascal and
adorable.
Buffy. See
That's
if
funny.
you can recognize him.
Does he become a demon? It's some demon scene
No,
where like
yeah,
she's
he
fighting
gets
demons. He gets
eaten by
attacked by
vampires, yeah,
demons
yeah.
or something. It's
Pedro,
he's so low.
no.
He's so low and so cute.
He doesn't look. He looks so different too.
That's
Mm.
something that I actually like really had to wrestle with because that's like top 3 shows of all time for me. It's iconic. There are entire books
So
written
good.
about sort of the philosophy of that show, and absolutely it did empower an entire generation of girls, and it's very important to me, and I will rewatch it like 97 times before I
Stupid
die.
Joss.
But it's one of those things that like I've really had to wrestle with. It made me feel a lot better that like multiple other actors from that show, not just the women, but like Anthony Stewart Head, for instance, came out in support of Charisma Carpenter and shared their own tawdry experiences working with Joss Whedon,
God, and
including Sarah
he
Michelle
made the
Gellar.
Avengers too. Ah,
I
why?
know. It's one of those
So
things where
annoying.
there are like multiple things he's done that are very important to me, and I'm just gonna have to wrestle with because I don't believe in trying to separate an artist from the art. That's not the way things work. Like your art is part of who you are, but it does make me go back and think about, like, for instance, some of the issues I have with Firefly and like reevaluate those in a new light. Like it's just something that I'm gonna have to balance and like reckon with as long as I live.
God, I love Nathan Fillion.
Yeah,
I can't wait for him to be in Suicide Squad, which comes out next week. So let's talk about Suicide
Yeah,
Squad.
Suicide
again.
Squad.
Who? Joss Whedon? You can't wait for what?
No,
No.
Nathan
Okay,
Fillion.
I know. Nathan. Oh, shoot! I forgot Nathan.
Nathan
Fillion's in it.
Fillion, Castle.
Shoot.
Castle.
Yeah, he's in
That's
Fillion.
right.
That's Captain
That's
Malcolm
right.
Reynolds. to you.
TDK.
Yes, from
Arm,
Firefly.
arm fall off boy.
Arm fall off boy. Yep.
Yep.
That is
All right,
the-
I don't want to render you obsolete, Jenny, but I do want to.
No, you got to talk about Bad Batch. Do it. It's your show.
Great episode.
Render you
Well,
obsolete.
you know, it's funny. I
One of my
watching all the
favorites.
nerds, watching your guys watch along
Thank you.
back. You and Levi both recognized Scorch immediately.
Yes.
So congrats on you because I've gotten a lot of comments on my reaction being like, I'm
Who
so
is that?
disappointed that
Who
you
is
didn't.
that?
you
Oh,
didn't
I'm
know.
mad at
People
you.
being like, I'm so aggravated you didn't know who that was. Like, I'm so
Oh.
frustrated that people aren't recognizing him or like.
Personal
like-
failure, Mike, not to recognize
Did
every
you
single
feel
like-
character
did you feel
immediately.
like
I'm
it was
already
a-
like above par Star Wars fan. I have a
Very
I have a
very obscure
YouTube channel called
character.
Jedi Jive where I talk about Star Wars with my friends.
I
So,
don't.
like,
I
I'm
didn't
already
read.
like,
I didn't read the books
I
or the
didn't
games.
know
I
who
just
Scorch
knew. I
was.
just knew of the character, but like, and also because they were in Clone Wars for like a minute. But-
Yeah, it was definitely Levi who was like, "It's Scorch!" Like, right? Of course, Levi. Of course, you would be like, but
Yeah, of course you.
we're talking,
Well, yeah.
we're talking
Well-
one episode of Clone Wars, right? One episode.
One.
right?
Yeah, one.
Yeah,
Which
they're
is
in
like
one.
the
They're in like
witches-
2
Yep,
minutes.
it's Witches of the Mist.
One of the ones
season
with
3.
Savage Press, right? Where
Yeah,
they're-
Savage
it's-
Press
It's-
kills a
it's
bunch
so-
of people.
It's the coolest shot though too. It's raining. They're
And do they actually just say Delta Squad, or do they
Coruscant.
actually say Scorch in that Clone Wars
They-
episode?
not neither.
They didn't
It's-
say
There you
it's
go.
just
So you have to have either
they do have
played
lines. They do have lines. but
Republic
Well,
Commando, right? You have to have played
wasn't
that
the game coming out, or wasn't the
no,
game? No.
no.
So it's just
Anyway,
the
that
game
was
I'm-
just-
the game
I'm
was like
surprised
7
how
years
many
old. At that
people
point.
like are like annoyed that I didn't.
the books.
recognize
Anything with the
Scorch.
book? I don't know.
No, they just Dave Filoni was a big fan of Republic Commando, and he made them cameo because it was a cool little cameo.
It was a cool
Anyway,
little
they,
cameo.
they clearly made him. It was obvious that he was like hard. to
They were
take
the
down.
Bad Batch before the Bad Batch.
Yeah,
Thank
and
you
they,
for
they-
taking my line.
It was
Yes.
yeah. It was very clear how hard he
I'll
was to
take it
take
again.
down. So they were playing up to like this is
I'll
a
take it
badass
again.
character, and they also didn't kill him because we've talked about how the Bad Batch is only stunning people other than Wrecker, who's still shooting people with blasters.
Yeah, I
but
know.
They're
Yeah.
they're only stunning. So this Scorch guy is still alive. Like we might.
You see him
potentially
at the
get
end of the episode. Yeah.
Yeah.
So who said that? Who said this? I feel like we were talking to someone who was like, "Wouldn't it be cool if like season 2 there was like the Delta Squad versus the Bad Batch?"
Like I said that.
You said that?
I mean, I want to see that. I think I. Said
Yeah, I
it
want
was
to
a
see
weird
that
tweet.
too. I forgot. I don't know. Someone said it. Someone.
But
said
yes,
it
I did
online,
immediately
but yeah.
react, and I love that react. Someone put it in our comments, like the time code. They just put a time code. I was like, "What's this?" And I was looking through our comments, and it was us
Yeah,
seeing Scorch
it
for
was
the
seeing
first time,
Scorch. Yeah,
and we were like, "Whoa, Scorch!" It was pretty fun.
I
It's a
just
good one.
anyway. I'm reading this as like a cameo that I'm.
If you didn't know who that was, then you're not a Star Wars.
You're not,
fan.
you're not a
I'll
Star
say
Wars
it.
fan, yeah.
I'll
Well,
say
yeah,
it.
that's one of those gatekeeping attitudes that I really.
It's
don't
such
like.
an
So
obscure.
dumb.
Ignore it.
Like-
It's like,
Ignore it.
you
Yeah,
can't
sorry-
be a real Star Wars fan
sorry,
if you don't know
Mike.
this obscure.
Sorry,
It's not
Mike.
like a character failing if
You
you,
didn't.
just like
You didn't
know
play that.
something
You didn't
for
play
a
that
second.
Xbox game in 2004, Mike. Come
Yeah, you
on.
didn't read
Yeah.
that book.
Yeah, and how many kids these days know Dash Rendar? I know you do, Levi. Okay, all right.
I know who Dash is.
Oh, of course you guys know. I wouldn't have you on my channel if y'all weren't awesome
Oh.
like that.
Old
See,
Dash.
I'm doing a little gatekeeping of my own. You can't come on
Yeah.
Jedi Jive unless you know.
You
Dash
wouldn't
Rendar.
be able
to-
Yeah.
And even then, Shadows of the Empire way more popular than Republic Commando.
There you go. That was
Like-
kind of where I'm like I'm literally in my late 30s. I'm like just because I didn't play this Xbox game like. does
And
not
yeah,
mean
Johnny,
I'm
it's not even a book
your
thing. 'cause
fault.
They're not in the books until Imperial Commando, which is what they
Oh.
are now.
Well,
in the
that
show.
I knew them from the video game, but you mentioned like there were books, and I was like,
Yeah, they come in later in the book. But anyway, it doesn't
Oh.
matter. Like literally, sorry, you didn't play a video game in 2004. Duh. Like, jeez.
Didn't they
Here we go.
remaster it last year or this year?
They just ported it. It's not a remaster.
Whatever.
Okay, so Wrench, who's always got great commentary, can we just talk about how gorgeous Mike's hair is? Yeah, you can talk about it all you want, buddy. Just
Yeah,
keep going.
go ahead.
I
I love the
Wrench.
rest of the
I just want to
comments.
brush my
Is this
fingers
is this
through
a boundary breaker? Yeah,
Yeah.
probably.
it. No way, man. It's all good. We let
Yeah,
the,
Wrench
we,
is
we,
a-
we
we
free
love
the hair
Wrench.
once in a while, but this
Yeah.
is so you guys know why I'm always wearing beanies, because this stuff is not easy to deal with. I feel the pain of every woman on the planet with long hair. It's not fun.
Not fun.
I mean,
And you
it's
say
longer
that
than
as
it looks.
someone
You
whose
ready?
hair looks
Ready,
good
Wrench? There's more of
automatically.
it. Here it
Mike's
goes.
hair naturally looks a way that
Oh,
it takes
when does
me
it
like
end?
an
Going.
hour to achieve.
Keep going.
Yeah.
Oh,
Ah!
it's long.
What
It's
did you
ever
really
think
get a
of
cut?
the New Hope callbacks though, Mike?
I would love to see
Yeah,
a picture
that's
of you
another
with
thing where
short
I was
hair.
100 I noticed
can't
the
picture
musical
it.
cues throughout.
Just like look him up on YouTube playing music or something. Like he has had short hair, but also I invite you to watch this man like jump in the ocean any day of the week and come out with a Pantene Pro V commercial on his head.
Oh, yeah.
It just naturally looks that good. It's not
I
fair.
love that.
Yes.
Anyway, sorry, what were you gonna say? The
What
New
were we
Hope, the New
saying?
Hope music.
Oh yeah,
was saying
there
the
were
music
there
was
were
good.
little musical cues
So
throughout the
cool.
episode.
No, the
Right.
full song was in it. It was awesome.
So you could tell that they were like, because it was going hand in hand with the, like I was talking about the visual transitions that we were seeing with like
Yeah.
TIE fighters and the
Well,
sonic.
even
transition
just
with
kind of the setting, like it was very
Yeah.
reminiscent of.
But they're
the
not.
Abyss
It
hallways.
isn't just like Revenge of the Sith, the ending where it just like hard change right into a New Hope style technology where all that we go from like prequels to original trilogy
Well, no,
technology like in an
in that
instant. Here-
in the shot you're talking about, it is this era where you have Venators, but they're painted gray like
Sure,
Star
yeah.
Destroyers, and it's the
Yeah.
V-wings you see in this episode, and
Either
but
way,
they've
like,
always
they're
made
transitioning.
They're specifically doing a transitional
Yeah.
Right.
thing, yeah, where it's
Right.
like these aren't full-on stormtroopers; they're like halfway there. and
What
they're-
did you think of Gregor and stuff?
Well, obviously that was a great little.
That was
you know,
amazing.
It was awesome.
I love that first scene was so cool with him running, escaping the.
Yeah, I first
Yes.
when he's first running, it wasn't obvious that it was gonna be Gregor because he doesn't.
Yeah,
have
no,
any
I didn't.
distinct- He doesn't have.
I thought it was
tattoos
Hauser.
or-
We thought it was Hauser for a second, but then we're like, nope, that's not him. 'cause
Yeah, so I was like, this is probably at first I was like, is it Wolf or Gregor? But then I remember Wolf is his face.
yeah,
is
Wolf's
messed
got
up,
the
right?
scar.
Yeah. So I was like, it's probably Gregor, and then it ended up being.
Jenny's like,
him.
yes, I read that. I read
Yeah,
that.
And
yeah.
listening and absorbing everything.
Wolf does have a scar.
And I can use
Yeah,
it
but you know what?
later.
Speaking of Wolf, that kind of it got me thinking. Where it's like, oh, are we gonna maybe run into Wolf next? Are we gonna like?
I think
start,
so.
'cause we have Hauser.
we were
have
talking
Gregor,
about
we have these-
because Rex is on the hologram, and he
Yeah.
seemed like he's in the middle of something, and he's like, oh, I have to go. We
There you
think
go.
he's messing with Wolf or
That's
helping
there,
Wolf or
that's
something like
exactly
that.
what I was thinking. I was
So
like,
we'll
are we
see
gonna
Wolf
maybe-
next week. I hope.
like the Rex puts in yet another call to the Bad Batch. He's like, thanks
You
for
gotta
doing
save
that
another
favor.
guy.
I
You gotta
got,
save
yeah,
another
I got
one.
another guy
Yeah.
who needs help, and they're gonna be
Yeah.
like, oh, come on.
And like clearly he's
It's like,
collecting. Rex is
And
collecting
Omega's gonna be like,
clones.
but
Oh
we
my
have
God.
to.
The
because we're
Fallout
friends."
4 meme. It's like there's another settlement that needs your help.
Yeah, the Preston
Yeah.
Garvey.
Preston Garvey. That's right. Yeah, love that guy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Good
we're
guy.
youth.
Good
That's
guy,
right.
That Preston Garvey.
That's right. We're younger
Good guy,
than
that
you.
Preston. No, that game's sick because it's set in Massachusetts.
Oh yeah, I guess you would like it because it's.
Yeah, I like it even more because of that.
You're like,
Ooh,
oh, busted.
I'm like, hey, I've been there. Hey, I've been there.
Right, anyway,
Sorry, go ahead. What were we
Anyway.
talking about?
Levi, did you? I'm sure you saw that the TK that they took out, and they
Yeah,
were
Oh,
look,
what did you
I
think of
saw
the
you-
design? What
I
did
saw
you think
you
of the
put that.
design of the troopers?
What about him?
the Ralph McQuarrie
Wasn't it
troopers.
sick? Wasn't
Oh
that
yeah,
sick?
that it's minus the original lightsaber that
Right,
stormtroopers
right,
used to be
yeah.
holding lightsabers
But,
in
oh,
Ralph McQuarrie's
dude, that
art,
was
yeah.
so cool. That was
Yeah.
probably the coolest part for me. In the
Well, I mean,
episode,
in
but-
general, it really is. It's not that far off from like the classic stormtrooper look. It's really mostly
Yeah,
the helmet.
yeah.
The helmet is the real thing.
Yeah, I know. I mean, like I was saying the week prior, I was like, oh, dude, we're gonna get some kind of phase 3.
You know what
kind
it
of
actually reminded me
transition.
of a little bit? You know in
Trooper.
Rebels when they're the trainee, like the rebel
Yeah,
pilot trainees have
the
like
cadets.
those,
Yeah.
yeah, those cadets,
The-
that those
Yeah, I can go
helmets
deep
had
on
sort of a similar like
So the
bold
cadets-
top to them.
The cadets
Oh
and the
God, not
the
kidding.
cadets and the flame troopers in
Yeah, isn't
Jedi
it-
Fallen
it's,
Order are based on the snow trooper.
It's Wedge,
concept
right?
art.
Wedge Antilles is one of them, right? He's
Yeah.
one of the.
That's later though. That's a different one. No, you're thinking in season 1. There's the cadets episode where Ezra goes undercover.
Ezra goes in undercover and he has
Yeah.
that stupid
Wait,
helmet.
the
helmet.
one
Yeah.
with Wedge and Hobby and Wedge. That's
what
later.
Sabine.
That's what Sabine.
Yeah,
Anyway,
okay.
Right.
Either way,
Okay.
those designs are based on concept art that Ralph McQuarrie did as well. But for snowtroopers, well, as the one we're seeing in this episode is for stormtroopers. But they're both
Okay.
based on Ralph McQuarrie concept art.
Yes.
Mm.
With that
Very
like
cool.
sort of design on the mouth that
Yeah.
it's good.
Right.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Very
Very
cool.
cool.
It was awesome.
Yeah.
Because
So,
I
yes,
I liked that they purposely didn't show the helmet at first, and it was like,
Well, it was
ooh,
like
what are they gonna
ET.
look
It was
like?
shot like it was ET.
Yeah. It was
I
good.
I
It
always
was-
love.
So yeah, I definitely noticed it wasn't like full on New Hope music, but there were little flourishes of like it was very reminiscent of it. Would make you
At
think of
points, it was just like full on.
No, they
There
had
were a
straight
couple
up
little
New Hope music
sequences,
for a
yeah, where it
second
was there.
Yeah.
But anyway,
But unfortunately,
But
in
what do you
reactions, like, I
think
usually cut out most of the
about
music.
like Hunter's whole deal? How about him like falling? Like,
yeah, clearly that was a like wow,
the
he
measurable amount of
survived.
amount of feet. Yeah.
Because that that was definitely like when they looked up that mountain, it was like
It's insane.
it was like a canyon. It was literally like a
Yep.
mile up. Yeah.
Yep, it did. It certainly did. And then he fell
So
off a cliff
actually,
again.
Lavelle, this is a.
It's supposed to be like the
Arabesh-
trees broke his fall, I guess. But
Yeah, I know. It's slow to fall. Yeah, I was like,
I don't know. Yeah.
Anyway, so Rex is clearly because we know
Because
from
moments before, the stormtroopers like actually shot one of their own commanders like off. Right?
off
He, like,
it too.
That's brutal.
Yeah.
So it's like
it was brutal
so
death.
Did
Yeah.
that guy survive? 'Cause
So
No.
yeah, maybe he survived.
No, that guy's
same
dead.
fall as
No,
Hunter.
No, that guy's dead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was gonna. So I'll just ask the question before I get to this.
Yeah.
So
get
Rex,
to it, please.
Rex is clearly collecting clones, right? Because with the Martez sisters, they contacted him because they found clones. They were like, "Hey guys, hey Rex, rogue clones," and he tried to recruit the batch.
Yeah.
And he
Rex
asked
is
them-
collecting rogue clones right now.
And he collected them. You see the chat. So funny. I was gonna talk about. So there's this. We have this. There's this rivalry between Brent and Wrench. And Brent asked Brent, "How
Oh
are
my
you?"
God.
Brent said, "All good," and Wrench said, "Just kidding. I don't care."
Oh, bro.
That's awesome.
So
Oh,
funny.
it's too funny.
So
We
funny.
have a fight banner.
So
We have
yeah,
like
I was
a-
actually, I think I
boxing
said I
banner
was
for him.
surprised we were getting any more of Rex because he really seemed like
I think we're gonna get him in the
One and
finale.
done.
I think
Yeah,
he's
he's
It
gonna
looks
be
like he
full
may
on,
actually show up more now. Yeah.
because
Yeah.
they got to go drop off Gregor to him.
Yeah. Yeah. And then I'm hoping they can bring Hauser back into the mix. Is it going to be sort of?
I do think.
Are they going to all end up on Camino at some point, or?
I think it's going to be off Camino.
Go
it
back
seems
to
like
Ryloth?
just or no. Because I mean, we still haven't seen that Star Destroyer, which we know we're going to see because Rampart's going to have a Star Destroyer.
Especially if Rex shows up and is.
And
like,
that's where I think
like,
Hunter
I'm looking
is.
for other clones that have that are like this
Yeah.
or whatever. Then they could be
Well,
like, we met this guy Hauser on Ryloth who.
Right.
I think
well,
so.
I think
I
the
think
main
so.
thing is going to be like rescuing Hunter, and I think they are on a Star Destroyer right now, even though they didn't show it.
Well, no,
I feel like
I think either. Honestly, I don't know if Hunter will be rescued this season, but what's going to happen is they're going to jump out of hyperspace. Omega's going to be like, wah, wah, I want to go rescue Hunter. And Tech's going to have to be like, hey, not only do we have to go drop Gregor off, but we can't save him on our own. We need help. And so that's where they're going to ask Rex for help. And he's going to be like, okay, well, I got stuff going on. But let's get a crew together.
What about like Roland Duran? What if they get some of those?
I think you get Fennec. I think Fennec is the most likely cameo to come back where they're like, hey, let's hire someone. And Omega's like, well, she
and
was
that
nice
ties
to
back
me.
in with Nalase because Nalase was her contact or the person that hired
Exactly.
her.
So I think I think next episode is the getting together the
recruitment.
Crew, while the other storyline is Hunter on his own, wherever he may be, dealing with Crosshair.
Star Destroyer. I'm telling you.
I saw other people were under the impression that Lama Su was taken out, even though you didn't.
No.
You don't see it, it
refuse.
doesn't happen. That's the.
If I don't see it, and if I didn't hear it,
if I didn't see a body,
they know they know what they're doing.
This is Star Wars, people. You get cut in half, you can come back alive.
Lama Su, did you like when they were bringing Nalase in and Rampart was like, we caught her doing this, and Lama Su was like, that's surprising. Like he tried to act like he didn't just send her to do that.
Yeah.
So he was kind of throwing her under the bus for a second.
Yeah,
there.
and I think the elite squad might be, I don't know, like loyal to
what? To
them.
the
I don't know.
Kaminoans? Why?
I don't know. I'm just shocked. I'm a little surprised that I don't think.
Yeah, you know what? Because Rampart did
know.
specifically say to Nalase, he's like, a scientist I have use for you, but like a politician I don't. But that could be important because it could imply that like the Kaminoans are still super necessary in terms of like understanding
cloning,
stuff. So they can't just like kill Kaminoans and be like done. Like
I think they probably put him in
need
prison.
them for.
I think they put him in the brig. I don't think he's
put
dead.
him in the brig.
He's gonna lead the uprising. No, I'm kidding.
Lama Su.
Could you imagine?
All right, so there are officially 2 more episodes left, and we're basically assuming that it's going to be a banger episode with a cliffhanger ending. That's like a to be continued scenario.
I think we got 2 bangers.
Yeah.
I mean, this week was just so awesome.
And you know what? Originally, I was kind of like, Omega's going to get captured. They're going to end up going back to Camino to try and rescue Omega. Now it looks like they've flipped the script a little bit. Omega.
They got to rescue Hunter.
Now it's more Rebel style.
They're gonna have to go after
of Kanan. Do you remember?
Yeah.
Remember season 1 of?
End of season 1. Yeah.
Except I don't think they rescue Hunter. I could see it where they don't get him.
Yeah.
I
or he allows himself to perish.
I don't know, man.
I think they're trying to make him bad. I think they're gonna try to put a chip back in Hunter.
Oh yeah.
I think they
saw
want
some
him.
people saying that Crosshair like taking down the ray shield at the end and walking in. I was like, is Crosshair gonna try and play a trick on Hunter and like act like he's?
There's many things that could happen that I could see working out because we've gotten a lot of weird facial expressions from Crosshair over the past few weeks. It could be a moment where he's like, "Hey, let's get out of here together. I'm good," or it could be I'm tricking you because I want you to be bad, or it's just the Empire the whole time has wanted the Batch for their own reasons, and they're like, "We want to brainwash this guy because this guy's the best. Yeah, let's just make him bad." And then
it's gonna be something like that.
Sad thing in the end.
I made fun in my reaction how Hunter literally picks up a stick and sniffs it and then like tells a whole story about what happened. And I'm like, wow,
that's his hunting skill being put to use.
He can feel the electromagnets. He can feel the vibes in the air. That's his powers. It's a real thing.
Yeah,
that's literally his thing. He senses the vibrations and he can like visualize things.
This chat is like.
Yeah, the chat's going off.
The chat is just doing its own thing right now. Hey,
thanks, guys. Thanks, guys.
Are they literally like? Are they pimping out Johnny? What's going on?
I don't know, man.
Lavelle's trying. He's really trying out here.
I don't know what they're doing,
man.
So
Sean is wondering, do we think the last 2 episodes are going to be longer?
Yes.
Like 30
I hope so.
I think
a 30 minute and then a 40 minute would be even
better. Here you
better.
go. I think next week 28 minutes. A week after that, 37 minutes.
Yeah,
That's my
that sounds good.
Shoot. Wait, did you say 28 and 37?
28 and 37. That's my prediction.
No, you know what? I those numbers are like that's. I agree.
Is that just
100%.
like guessing the jelly beans in a jar, or are you basing that on
Yes.
something?
No,
No,
it's just sometimes.
it's a wild guess.
No,
28 and
I have
37. I
inside.
have it written down.
Guys,
Inside
the
source.
first episode was what 70 minutes. It was
Mhm.
almost like it was literally like a full.
It was like a
Yes, more
double
than an hour.
episode.
Yeah.
So why
Yeah.
can't the last?
Oh,
episode
guys,
be
we have Kane and
long?
Jarrus in
I
this
don't
chat.
know.
I hope you're doing
Kaden
well.
Jarrus
Kane.
himself in the
Really?
There he is.
I hope you're doing well, Kane.
Oh.
The afterlife.
Wow.
Are
Look
we
at that.
gonna get Caleb Doom?
What if Crosshair's chip?
Huh.
Which when he got burned? Yeah, that's a good idea. Crosshair's chip got
Yeah, I
damaged
feel like
when he
every
got
time we see
burned.
him, the chunk in his
Oh.
head gets deeper and deeper.
It does, yeah.
Mhm.
he
Oh,
has,
it's like it's getting grosser and grosser. I'm like, ugh.
yeah.
Mm.
They keep putting him in like harsher and harsher lighting. It like fully reveals like the depth of his wounds.
It's
Yeah.
pretty gross. It's a
It
it's a
is pretty
grody. It's a grody.
Grody
piece of
Have
action.
we seen our
Scar.
last Jedi for the season? Was that it with Caleb Doom? Just
Yeah,
that
it's gonna be a
one?
Luke, and he's gonna strike down everybody and kill Rampart. It's gonna be
Luke
great. I
is
can't
literally
wait.
like 2 weeks old at this point, bro.
Yep,
A little toddler, you know.
something
They're
like
not
that.
toddler,
Same
but
with
he's
No,
Ezra. Ezra
he's,
is
like,
literally like,
newborn.
a day older than Luke, right?
Yeah.
So
little
he's like-
babies, little like 6-month babies.
Somebody says I Kanan, but I don't think so. I hope it's not. I don't need a. We don't need a Jedi for this show. We don't. So
Yeah, there was.
I can
what
do
was the-
without.
You know what we didn't talk about is that one scene where Nala after Lamasu, I think Brent kind of brought this up a little bit. After Lamasu was like, go gather like the essential people or whatever, but then she's walking with a bunch of like Boba age younger clones, being like, I'll collect you guys later or whatever. So
Mm.
she's implying that like that's the group of people that she was assembling, was like those little group of like 13-year-old clones.
No, she was walking with them, and then Lamasu approached her. I thought
no,
she was.
This was after. This was he was like, go gather whoever, and then it showed her walking down the hall with those Boba Fett's.
I think that may have just been like she's doing her duty to get them out because they were being transported off planet. They were like, "Where are we going? We're going to be trained as soldiers with the Empire, or whatever." They were like,
Why are
"We're
they
they're
like
going
That was-
small Victorian
I thought that you
Well,
just
they
made them
are
burn
like
it.
that.
ghosts?
They are like that. What do you
The
mean?
ghosts
That's how they
of, like,
sound.
Oliver
That's how they
Twist.
sound.
I'm not that far off.
Yeah, Tom Weezy.
Eh,
Yeah,
That's better.
that's how they
Did.
sound.
We're going.
All your vowels need to be long E's. That's
Eh.
how you do a New Zealand accent.
Only-
Did.
The
Polynesian
Polynesian
spa.
spa.
Oh, is that
I
what you were
know
doing? You were
words.
doing clones? You were trying to do a New
Yeah.
Zealand
But it's a little,
accent?
but it's,
Yeah.
no, but it's a little
That's pretty
child though.
good.
It's a child. It's a little.
Can you do a
10-year-old.
New Zealand accent, Jay?
Mike's is
Amiga.
pretty good, actually.
Amiga.
Mike,
Like
good.
I said, you just got to all your vowels. Just make them
All
long
your
E's.
vowels.
Yeah.
So instead of no, say noi.
No.
Yeah. Noi.
French, that's
Noi,
a lie.
noi. See, you got to just put a long E at the end of it.
Unsubscribe.
Oh,
The
French.
Polynesian spa. We lost a bunch of New Zealand subscribers.
Our sister
are you kidding me?
actually lives
Yeah,
in New
we have an
Zealand.
older
Mike has
sister who
spent some
lives in New
time
Zealand.
Oh, really?
considering.
Love New
Yeah,
Zealand.
I
she
want to
lives-
go. So
she's lived there
that's
for
that's
years.
somewhere I want to travel to.
Literally the nicest
That's
people
on
I've ever
the-
met.
yeah,
live in
that's on the
New
top.
Zealand.
We've all been there. We've all been over to
Beautiful,
New Zealand.
beautiful
but
country.
We've all been
Cool
there.
place.
I haven't.
incredible. Yeah. No, Mike and I, like our family.
No, I know,
has
I
all
know.
been there because our sister got married
Right.
to a
I know-
Kiwi and lives
I-
there.
yeah.
But like,
It's
I
sister.
get you.
Sister.
Yes,
Sister.
yeah.
See,
Sister.
that long E, sister.
Easter.
Fricka.
And I guess they
Sorry.
also do kind of drop their R's, like not like a Boston style, but you don't really pronounce your R's. if you
No,
don't.
it's
So
different.
sister.
No,
different.
it's
Rika.
a different thing.
Rika.
Hunter.
Yeah.
Hunter.
Hunter.
Thick.
Yeah. Oh, amiga.
Tick. Echo.
Tick.
Love it.
Yeah.
So good. So good.
All right, guys.
Who?
that's
I don't even know the voice actress. Who plays Omega?
Michelle.
Michelle Yeoh.
Yeoh,
Not Michelle Yeoh. No,
Yang,
that's-
Michelle-
I was like, no, she
No,
definitely is
It's
not.
not. We both
doing
went to the
that.
same place. It's
She's
wrong.
amazing. but
Michelle
she's
Ang.
not.
It's Michelle
Michelle
Ang.
Yeoh
Is
is
she
like
New Zealand?
60 years
Nope.
old.
Yes,
too,
she
right?
is.
She is not. She is.
She is.
She's
Yeah.
getting
New
up there.
Zealand. Yep.
Michelle
Yeah.
Yeoh's older.
There you go.
No,
Yeah.
no, she's not. You said
No, she said no. I read while American actor. I just saw American. I was like, oh, but
no. Michelle Ang, right?
yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
We both went yo.
Yes.
Cool.
Yes.
Yes.
Hunter. Okay, we're gonna wrap the stream up
Okay.
Good stream.
and call it. It was a pleasure talking with you.
I
guys
feel like we
today.
covered a lot of ground today. It was
We did.
good
Were we in depth
conversation.
enough, Levi?
Very in depth. Very good.
Jenny, thank you for sticking around for us.
Yeah,
talking about
no,
Bad Batch.
definitely. It was a good combo today.
This is
And-
Jedi Jive after all, and not
Of
ScarJo
course.
Jive.
Of course.
Scar
No.
Jive.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know,
That's you should change the
It
channel.
was
Yeah,
relevant.
copyright
I
that
have
one,
strong
Mike.
feelings about it, but
Yeah,
you
let's
know,
say it like
Merch.
that. I just
we talked
just
about
came
a
up
lot of
with
stuff
that.
today.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
but
And thanks
yeah.
to all of our folks in the chat, Lavelle, Kana Jarris,
Well, I want to be
Brent,
able to,
Angie, Mandy.
I specifically brought Jenny back on because, like I said, we had a great conversation about the ScarJo
Yeah,
situation.
it's
and
really
like,
good.
we now, like, you know, Jenny, we usually talk about Marvel with you, and it's like,
Well, we've got
But-
What If coming like in
Oh,
a
yeah.
week and a half. So
Yeah, we got stuff.
we got stuff
going
coming.
on.
And then we got like movies coming and all kinds of things happening.
Yeah. It's gonna be
And I
cool.
will, of course, be back in December as well to talk Book of Boba, which
Book
we're
of
all
Boba.
excited about. We're all ready for.
I am not excited
So
at all.
I am. You don't have to be. 'Cause I'll be
Johnny's
excited. So we got lots of stuff coming.
A lot. It's gonna be cool.
it looks like that lagginess at the beginning of the stream. It might be coming back.
So
The
it's a
sec-
sign.
The second
Time
I
to
try
sign
to
off.
open, yeah, I'm actually trying to end the stream right now, and I'm like not able to. So it looks like we're stuck here.
We're
forever.
still going, people.
We'll hang out.
I don't think it's live anymore. Wait.
Yeah. Well, it's gonna. We're in.
It really ended unceremoniously.
Did it? I don't know. Anyway, I'm just gonna end the
Let's
stream.
see.
Love you guys. Peace.